You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
It's here, all the goodies on our holiday wish list for 2025. This month, we're also talking to the founder of a brand new jumping and dressage circuit that wants to be the opposite of USEF. And ever wonder what goes into breed inspections for stallions and foals? You're about to find out. Thanks for tuning in.
From Heels Down Mag, a podcast where horse pros chat about what's happening in the horse world over drinks. Welcome to Happy Hour.
I'm Justine Griffin.
I'm Jessica Payne.
And I'm Ellie Woznicka. Welcome to episode 142 of Heels Down Happy Hour.
Hey, guys.
Hello, hello.
What's going on?
I can't believe it's November. The year has gone so fast.
I feel like Halloween never gets the time it deserves. Like, it comes and goes so fast. Like, really, you only get like a good month if you're like a super planner for Halloween decorations. And then I feel like we're in this weirdo time where people it's okay to put your stuff up.
Put Christmas up
before Thanksgiving, which I think is
I can't.
I think, that is a big taboo thing for me. Like, don't do that. But it is okay.
It is okay. My cousin just posted, like, her husband loves, the Christmas decorations, everything else. And so, like, her house is already, like, lit up. And I'm like, whoa, it was just Halloween, like, a hot second ago.
Dang, that's some commitment. But
I know. But they love it.
I just feel like Halloween should be, like, 6 weeks at least.
Right.
It's my favorite one. And
for me, Halloween lasts until Thanksgiving. I'm currently drinking my drink out of a mug that is shaped like a cauldron.
Oh my goodness. That's
jealous.
Hysterical.
So I don't know. I feel like I'm still feeling Halloween and I'm like, why? Why are we moving on so fast?
I know.
This episode is brought to you by Eco Gold. Well, speaking of Thanksgiving, Ellie, it sounds like you have a good cocktail for us that will get us in the mood for Turkey Day.
Yes. So when I was telling Justine about this drink, Jess, she told me I give her grandma vibes because I said that.
No. What drink did you give her?
Just wait till you hear.
So it's a Werther's hot toddy.
That's kind of grandma-ish.
I've been on a Werther's kick.
Werther's. I do really like Werther's, so
I like them
I'm
too.
here for that.
I've been on a kick. Like, I don't know why. I went to visit my mom and she had them and I was like, oh my God, I forgot how great these were. So I was looking.
I think that's it. You go through phases of Werther's. Like, you're like, love them. And then you're just like, you walk away from them and forget about them until the next, like, era of them. So I've never heard of a Werther's hottie toddy, though.
Yes. So I'm excited because it's like going to be perfect for me right now. So you're going to have like 10 Werther's candies and you're going to crush them up. You're going to need a half cup of caramel, 2 cups of water, and then also 10 more Werther's, but whole. You can have 2 sticks of cinnamon for garnish and 1/3 cup lemon juice, and then 6 ounces of whiskey or bourbon. Can also do lemon slices for garnish. So you're going to place your crushed Werther's on a shallow plate and caramel, and you're going to do your rims. So you're going to dip in the caramel and then in the crushed Werther's, which
oh my God,
in itself, I would just eat that off a plate with a spoon. But in any case, next you're going to go in your small saucepan over medium heat. You're going to combine your water, your whole Werther's, and cinnamon sticks. You're going to stir like constantly until the candies are fully melted. Then you're going to turn off the heat and you're going to stir in your lemon juice and whiskey. And then you're going to ladle, into mugs to serve.
Okay. I might refer. At first, I was kind of concerned on how much Werther's you were talking about.
I know.
Because I didn't understand half of them were for like a nice little rim. And that sounds amazing.
Right? So this is like so New England of me. So, my birth and my grow up in New England is showing, but I love like hot alcoholic drinks. Like in the winter, I want cold, warm alcohol. I think I love it.
So cold.
Yeah.
I can understand how this would be really nice, like around a fire,
Yeah.
Yes.
Or like if you're sitting outside, like by a fire or, just anything like with this.
Yeah. Oh, I need to travel somewhere to drink this.
You cannot have this drink in Florida.
Okay, well, fair.
But you know what, Ellie, you and I will enjoy it up north where it's cold.
Yeah. You can come visit and stay on the mountain, and
it will be cold enough on the mountain for you to have
the wind chill.
Yeah. I'm okay with that. But I like this.
I feel like it's a good in-between drink, right? It's not embracing Christmas. It's staying in fall, but it's still also warm, dealing with the post-autumn chill.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree.
So what have you guys got for news?
I have a great one.
All right.
So Jimmy Toronto's son, JJ Toronto, has been on fire. We watched him win a car earlier this year before he was even 16. And this year at the McClay finals, he ended up winning the McClay final. But not only that, and there's the cutest picture of his parents, Jimmy, his father's holding up the plate and his mother's laughing, Danielle. They're so proud of him. He did such an amazing job. But he was one of the busiest weeks. So during the McClay, outside the actual McClay finals, he ended up third in the 100,000 meter 40 open Grand Prix that night. He was second in the speed 30,000 costume contest. And then he ended up winning the 20,000 Grand Prix on another horse. So the Torontos were super busy riding a bunch, but this kid was on fire and ends up winning another prestigious equitation class. And he's so young and, he's got amazing parents and amazing sponsors, obviously. And he rides with Missy and John and just the whole team. He thanks, he's so thankful for everything, but you guys have to go look at the pictures of the family. It's so cute. They're so proud of their child and he works really hard, but he's also an amazing rider and upcoming, he's going to be, we've watched him in the past go head to head with his dad in a Grand Prix. And I think more people are cheering for JJ and we love Jimmy, but it's really, really awesome that he's having a killer year.
Absolutely. I love watching the McClay. I like
so
the
fun.
Indoors. Yeah. It's just such a gem of a tradition that I'm glad is still so competitive. You know what I mean? It really rewards hard work and young riders.
And it is because, these kids study the tests. He goes and he does his homework before. He goes and he's watching videos. He's watching where he should be. He's, he's done all his homework to go in to try to win it. So, it's not like he just won it off a fluke. He did his homework. He paid off. And it's been amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah. You deserve all the praise when you can win that. That's pretty serious. So
absolutely.
Yeah. No, it's great. Congratulations, JJ. What do you got, Ellie?
Well, so I have the downside of the fall, and that is, we're got scratch season coming.
Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah. So I found this article. I know a lot of us know already that if there's mud on the ground, we have to worry about scratches, which, is the kind of catch-all term for any kind of dermatitis or scabs, hair loss, or tender skin on the distal limbs of the horse. And the issue is, right, our horses are not just standing in mud. It's also mud mixed with manure of, all kinds of animals. And it's an excellent breeding ground for bacteria. So obviously, vets are going to always recommend routine, thorough inspections of the distal limbs during these critical times of the year, right? So spring and fall. And not to just rely on brushing, but to actually use your hands to feel for small bumps, scrapes, areas of heat. And because catching those earlier have a better chance of stopping the infection before it starts. So in an ideal world, right? Clean and dry limbs. I know that's not easy to do if you don't have, access to dry stalls, access to dry paddocks, but to keep them as clean and dry as possible, horses with a lot of feathers, right? This is time to clip them so they don't stay moist all the time. And then for, treatments and topicals, right? If you have a clean, dry leg, then you're going to apply some kind of product that's going to soothe the skin and help it heal. So they might recommend medical grade Manuka honey and microsilver are great for forming those protective barriers, but more serious cases, you'll need steroids or oral antibiotics. And then just management of the changes, right? That it's going to be muddy. So to kind of prep, I just dealt with this the other day with my sister's mare. She's starting to get some scratches. And so I just cleaned her legs real well with some betadine. And then I know I've shared it before, but I still swear by my scratches recipe, which is 1 tube of hydrocortisone cream, 1 tube of the extra strength diaper rash cream, and then 1 tube of Neosporin. You can just use, Desitin or diaper rash cream, but I like that 3 combination. It does a great job about keeping the moisture out, repelling that moisture, and then keeping the skin underneath protected.
Yeah, I love that recipe. I got it from you a long time ago, Ellie, and I still use it. I would say scratches season for me is summer, like when it's wet all the time, but it's still, it's definitely still something you got to pay attention to here, or even in the winter. But I understand how it's clearly a problem for you guys, where you guys get a lot more mud when it's cold. I hate scratches. That's one of my least favorite skin funk things to deal with. And I feel so bad when it's painful for them. It sucks.
Right. Yeah. It's no fun. And can you imagine, some of them get so itchy and yeah, as someone with eczema, I feel their pain. I'm I don't know how I would do that if I didn't have nails to itch,
Totally.
So I'm always trying to treat. And that's why I like that added hydrocortisone, just to take out that annoyance factor.
Well, even for you at Berkeley, he has feathers. I just feel like that's even an extra layer for you to, to 1, detect it, and 2, keep everything clean.
Yeah. And now it's not just him. Now that my sister's Canadian warm blood is here too, I have 2 horses that I have to do the leg mullet buzz cuts. So yeah. So they all got their legs coated, because after the rain we got with the hurricane remnants, it's a muddy mess.
I believe it.
So what have you got, Justine?
Oh, I've got a really exciting news. So, spoiler alert, Heelstown Happy Hour made it into the Washington Post, which is crazy.
Nice.
One of our listeners, her name is Chloe Coleman. She follows our social media accounts, and she works for the Washington Post. She's a journalist there, which, as you guys know, I'm a big fan of all journalists, because I'm also a journalist. And it's great to meet another newspaper girly who is also a horse girly. And Chloe wrote a column that ran in the Post last week talking about horse girl style, which is kind of funny, Ellie, because on our last podcast episode, you were talking about how horse girl style was hitting all of the, national fashion magazines. I think it was Travel and Leisure was the one we talked about, right? The typical tall equestrian boot, fall, horsey girl look with breeches and a fun wool blazer, all of that's coming back. And so Chloe wrote a piece about, fall is the time for horse girl, quote unquote, equestrian trend season in style and fashion. But she wrote a beautiful piece just talking about how if you're a real horse girl, that, the season never ends. And we got a great shout out, as she specifically mentioned us in a way to find camaraderie in the community of being a horse girl, which is just so cool. That we're a good place for if you want to learn more about horses and find other girls who are obsessed with horses and the sport, come here to Heelstown Happy Hour. So we'll share this Chloe's piece, the link in our show notes, of course. But thank you, Chloe, for the shout out. It was pretty cool to see that.
That's Absolutely. Pretty awesome.
So it's November, which means it's time to unveil our holiday gift guide, which we do every year, and we partner generally with a bunch of brands that we believe in. But this year, 2025, we're turning it on its head a little bit, and Heelsdown is doing something different. We are still releasing our gift guide, but it's all our own hand-picked things and items and goodies that are on our personal lists. So these are no paid participants in our gift guide this year. It is literally everything that Jess, Ellie, and Justine want for Christmas. That's it. So we're going to have a full list of our top picks for the holidays for the 2025, which we'll publish at heelsdownmag.com, of course. And there are so many good picks on this list that we can't talk about every single one of them, or else this would be a 3-hour podcast episode. So we're going to pick our top favorite things in 3 categories and talk about them here. But if you guys want to see our full list, We'll be rolling it out over social media, but please go to heelsdownmag.com where you can find it and find links and even some coupon codes to certain things. And again, these are all products that we believe in, that we want, that we've sent to the boys to hopefully buy for us, or stuff we use every day in the barn and like always need, refills for those things. So this year we broke it down into 3 categories just to make it a little bit organized, or else it would be out of control. So it's going to be our top picks for the horse, then our top picks for the rider, and then the third category is the top picks for the barn. So, Ellie, why don't you kick us off and tell us what is your number one item on your Christmas list for the horses?
Well, so you guys know I spoil.
Yes, you do.
My ponies get so excited every year because I get them the Uncle Jimmy's hanging balls, the hard molasses, it almost looks like granola with oats and stuff. I actually can't find it this year. I don't know if they went out of business, but it seems like they're out of stock everywhere. Or if Lickit bought them, I'm not sure, because now Lickit has the same exact thing and they call it the granola ball.
Interesting. Okay.
So I'm going to test their new one in the hopes that it will be as good as Uncle Jimmy's, because my horses look forward to that every year. And I always kind of dread having to get all of the molasses off of their face and out of their forelocks, but it's so worth it because that is the best time of their life.
That's pretty awesome.
Oh, that's
what
a good
about
one.
You, Jess?
So you guys are going to laugh, but I came across this product on TikTok. And I'm not even a big TikToker, but somehow it showed up, and I don't know, the algorithms kill me sometimes. But anyways, I came across this thing. So I love our ice vibes. We've used them tried and true, for years and years, and we all know that I forget the inserts, and that's when I did the popsicles and everybody laughed at me, and that was hysterical because yes, I did forget the inserts 100% and it was my fault. But so long story short, I found the next upgrade from the horse, the ice vibes. So it's the ice vibes exactly kind of that has PMF as well in it. And I'm like, oh, I know. I found this. It's incredible. It's called HorseLink Tech. And I have been doing my research, and it is now on my list to want for Christmas for these horses, because it is a compression, vibration, PMF, 3-in-1 for the horses. And
wow.
I'm not going to lie, it looks like the ice vibes. It's those black with the little blue. So it's exactly looks like it, but it's got a little pack for the PMF. And so it does the compression, it does the vibration, but now it does the PMF magnetic. And I will tell you, all of our little inserts for our ice vibes have been dying because it's just and they recharge, they're rechargeable. But at some point, they
just wear out.
They wear out. So we were looking at going and buying more ice vibes, and the girls and I were talking, and I'm sure my phone was listening to me and told me I needed the next best thing, because all of a sudden I'm scrolling and I see this it looks like an ice vibe, but it's got even more. So it is, I don't know. I'm going to still do some more research, but this is on my list that I might be
amazing.
Isn't it amazing?
I'm looking at the link right now, and I'm like, the price isn't even bad for what it is.
No, it's not bad. And the insert part of the ice vibe that I like, the little case it comes in, it already has a compression thing that it's an insulator. So you put your ice vibes in there, the inserts, and it stays so you don't forget them. They're not lost in the freezer.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah. So you set your pack and you pack it and you go, and they look a lot more durable than the ones that I break all the time. And I mean, you can always go to the popsicles. They still work. But so the compression, it wraps around. So the ice part is actually more of a compression too. And the research on it looks amazing.
Wow,
so this
I never
is on
heard
my
of HorseLink.
Neither have I. But then I started doing the research. They've worked with a lot of companies that we've worked with, and a lot of the similarities. So I'm the technology looks to be there. So that is on, it's on our like hot list. This I only found a couple days ago that I'm pretty sure, like I said, this is going to be my number one wish list that might get bought before Christmas, if I'm not going to lie, so I can take it to Florida.
I'm looking at it going, I need this.
I know.
Yeah, I want this for myself, actually.
I know. I'm like, well, when we get to my Rose and Thorn, I might need this for myself right now.
Oh,
interesting. Yeah. This is a good find, Jess.
I know. Thankfully, my phone listens to me about my problems. Justine, what do you have?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so mine's a little different. I'm like that we have some variety. So we already reviewed this on the podcast, so I won't spend a lot of time. But earlier in the year, we reviewed that Eco Gold did a very cool collaboration with Armatech, which makes riding clothing. So what Eco Gold did is they designed a specific saddle pad that they called the Vertical, which launched earlier this year, and it really takes your matchy game to the next level in terms of like having a really nice pad that is the same colors, but also has the same design. And it's a very sharp, just one line down the pad, and it matches the very sharp, like lined feature in the Armatech shirts. I'm obsessed with this collaboration. I get compliments everywhere I go on mine. I got the black long sleeve show shirt from Armatech plus the black pad with the white stripe. And it doesn't matter what horse I use it on, like no matter what color, it just looks super classy everywhere I go. And it's an Eco Gold pad, so it's going to last forever. It has all of the impact protection support. It's moisture wicking, and we know it doesn't slip. So Eco Gold is already my favorite saddle pad designer, but this whole collaboration is amazing. So it's high on my list for Christmas because I just want more colors. I love the black and white, but like I'm ready for the next set, for next year, because I've really worn mine out. And I know I'm cheating a little bit because this is both something for the rider and for the horse, but the pad really makes the whole look come together. And you can even get a Eco Gold half pad, either a flip pad or the Breeze half pad that really like makes everything match. So that is my pick, just because it's honestly been the best thing I bought this year, I would say. Horse thing. I love it.
Yeah.
But it was hard. It was hard to pick just one thing.
I know.
Out of our list.
It's hard to pick one thing.
Yeah, I have to add that one to my list too. I forgot. I was like, I need a new Eco Gold. I was just thinking about that the other day.
And it's so, like the shirts, the Armatech shirts are so nice. They're extremely light. It is the lightest, like sun shirt type material shirt that I own, but
nice.
I've ridden in it 1,000 times and it still looks brand new. So it really holds up.
Yeah.
All right. So now moving on to the rider category. So what you got, Ellie?
Okay. So I have tried to do this myself and I'm not very good at it. But I think about the ribbons, right? We have so many ribbons.
We do.
And I'm like, I don't want to hang them all on the wall. Like, that was great when I was a teenager and like decorating my walls at home. But I'm like, I like the nice ribbons I have hung up, but I have so many that are just in boxes. And this company, Equa Ribbon Creations, they have been on my list for a long time. They make more than just the ribbon pillows, but the ribbon pillows, that's what I want. Like you can get like one rosette in the center and like have them all like sprawled out, like with like, you can do your tricolor, like, championships, or you could do like a wall hanging, which are really cool, or like frames and things like that. Like, I'm like, and even teddy bears and stuff.
I just saw the teddy bear. I'm like,
yeah,
what?
And they even do like stockings for like holidays and things like that, like, and wreaths. Like, they're beautiful. And I'm like, what a great way to use those $2 ribbons that we pay so much money to win.
Right.
Yeah, right. That's a good point. I've seen these in person before, like friends who have gotten them done.
You have.
One time everyone went in and got like 2 matching ribbon pillows for a trainer, and everybody at the barn paid for them. It's beautiful. They really do a nice job. They're super durable. Like you can put them on a couch in a tack room and like they'll survive,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they're gorgeous. And I feel like this is a lovely gift for
this
somebody.
Is so pretty for like anybody
Very
because
sentimental.
the only things I've seen is like the shadow boxes, but this is just way different and like so much more unique.
Yeah.
Or I've seen like a table shadow box, like, you know what I mean? But I've only seen like where it's in glass. I've never seen it made like this.
Yeah. And the owner is a great lady. Like, she's so nice, and she's a horse girly. She has minis. I'm all about it, and I'm trying to like pick like all the colors of the ribbons that I like to like make different piles. I'm like, I want so many throw pillows. I want them everywhere. I'm like, because then I can actually show them off.
Yes.
So,
I mean, I'm looking at her Instagram, and she can even make like Christmas ornaments out of your ribbons. They're gorgeous.
No way.
Like, she's very talented. That's pretty cool.
She is incredible, and she's all like, I think she told me like her grandmother, like she started like just sewing with her, and then she just like randomly decided to do this. I don't know how she creates these things. They are fabulous.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's amazing.
It is. She's very talented. And they're gorgeous. What a one of a kind piece to have. You know, it just feels like such a treasured thing. The bears
are so cute.
Yeah, it's adorable. It's very nice.
Okay, well, I'm more practical. So, I mean, that is amazing. And I probably should do that instead of mine. But I have to tell you, I've been seeing those Oro like heated vest. And I got one that's like underneath, but like it's life changing. I'm like looking at their ski jackets now. They have so many different options. I've only always seen like the puffy vest, but so we got a liner that's like for golfers because Doug's like, I want something under our show coats and everything else. So he got us that, and I'm like, okay, it's nice, but I'm like, no, I'm like going down the rabbit hole of like their entire stock because they have like, I always assumed with those heated vests, they like just stayed warm all the time. Like, no, it goes on and off. And so like, it's actually like super nice. It never gets you too hot. And so, cause I'm kind of like a hot nature person that I'm like, I don't need a vest, but I'm not going to lie. I'm like probably going to need 3 or 4 more of them. And so, yeah, I've been going down this whole rabbit hole of what new vest and jackets I need from the heated vest company because they're quite amazing, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I know. I saw your Instagram reel recently. Like those, they seem totally legit. Like especially
the one is like underlined. Like I had it. Like it was really cold and like kind of that bitter cold one morning, and I had, you know, just a normal sweatshirt on top, just like a pullover, like crew neck. And he's like, why don't you have your heated vest on? I'm like, oh, I do. It's underneath here. So you couldn't even tell I was wearing it, to be honest. Like I had like my base layer, like, you know, real thin kind of shirt, long sleeve. And then I had the liner, and then I just had like a pullover on top and like just a cotton pullover. And he was like, you should have your heated vest on. I'm like, I do. It's underneath it. He's like, I can't even tell you're wearing it. So instead of like the big bulky one and he has several different ones because he's loved it for a while and he keeps buying them. And I just thought, oh, whatever. But I'm like, now I might need one for like skiing. I might need one like a puffy vest. Like they have so many different options.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great investment for anybody who spends any time outside in the cold.
Anything outside. I mean?
Yeah. And if they're durable and they last, I think that's amazing.
Well, that's why he started. He's had his just puffy vest 2-3 years, and he abuses some stuff. And the battery lasts quite long for him.
That's great. I mean, that's awesome. You would like, it only works if the battery works for a while, right? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's a pretty good review. I like that.
Yeah, so not bad. Totally different.
Like I would live in it. Like I don't think I would use.
I feel like you would.
Just never take it off.
Like the liner, you just like put it on as like a second layer, and then you just like snuggle in it all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah, but if it works, that's what it's for. You know.
Justine, what do you have?
So for the rider category, I was trying to think of a good like self-care option, and I was like back and forth between 2 products, but something new that I tried this year is Ergo Beauty, which is a makeup company from a horse girl, actually. So made with equestrians in mind. and I was fed an Instagram ad with a girl riding a horse for makeup. And I will say, since 2020, since the pandemic, like I'm someone who, had worked in an office every day, had to dress professionally. I always wore makeup every day to work, yada, yada. And then all of that changed because of COVID. I'm not going to lie. I switched to, during that time when we spent so much time at home, I never wore makeup. But then when like life slowly became kind of normal, I switched to a tinted moisturizer and never looked back. I would never wear like concealer or like foundation ever again. I love like a lighter type of makeup. And so the brand I had been using during COVID, like they were constantly out of stock. Like I could never find it. It was really annoying. Like when you needed it, that I would have to wait weeks sometimes to order it again and then be without makeup. It was a pain in the butt. So I decided to give Ergo Beauty a try after seeing all of their horsey ads for many months. And honestly, I'm like super impressed. It's not expensive. Like one tube of their CC cream, which is like a tinted moisturizer. It costs me $39 and it lasts forever. It's super lightweight and it has lots of ingredients in it that are actually good for your skin that help reduce redness and inflammation and helps hydrate your skin. They consider this their more medium coverage compared to what they also offer is a BB cream, which is like even lighter. I liked the CC cream. Like there was still enough coverage over my face that you could put like a little blush on and feel like you had makeup on, but you can also add SPF to it. So I did that, but they made the whole process super easy because honestly, what you could do is like the way they like make sure you're buying a shade that matches your skin. They have like a great sample process where you can like pick a few that you think are close to yours and she'll mail you the sample. So I tried both the BB cream and the CC cream in different shades until I found one that I was like, this is it. This is the one that's looking for me. And then she gives you a coupon code for trying the samples to then place your first order.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So she made the process very easy. I'm not a makeup person. I'm really not. Like even when I was forced to wear makeup, like I'm a very simple makeup type person. And I just love this. Like you can put the CC cream on and like feel like I have things to do. Like if I have to get on like a video call, but I want to try to get to the barn, I can like put it on, go drive to the barn, take the video call from the barn before I ride, dab my face, brush my hair, get back on another meeting if I have to, and still feel like I look put together. You know what I mean?
No, that matters.
It definitely matters, but I also don't feel like I'm wearing a ton of makeup, you know?
Yeah.
So I do notice a difference in my skin. And
that's great.
Yeah. And for the price point, like I mean, I'm going to be a customer forever. It's easy. I know it works. It works for my skin type. Yeah. It's awesome. I'm a big fan.
What is the saying? Look good, feel good, do good.
Yeah. Right.
Exactly. If it makes you feel good, that's the most important. And I'm going to try it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like that, like living in Florida and riding horses, like I'm someone where the SPF is really important. Sunscreen is really important to me at this part of my life, so I like that that's, not an afterthought. I feel like in a lot of beauty products it is where they throw in like a low SPF. So yeah, no, I'm a big fan. I really like it. So, and that is like a real tried and true review of someone who doesn't like to wear makeup. So if you're also a non-makeup type girl, like Ergo is the brand for you, I swear.
And someone who lives in an extremely humid climate and can test to
this is true.
Not having it melt off your face.
Exactly.
So that's what matters to me. I'm like, okay, I trust Justine's word, but I also trust Justine's environment to be a good testing.
Like, I'll send you a video of like, here's me at the barn. Here's me after 4 horses at the barn.
Right.
All right.
They should have us test all makeups because let's be real. Like that is the ultimate makeup test.
Oh, that'd be the ultimate test. 100%.
Can it hold up to this?
Yeah. Like horse show in August in Florida. Can it hold up? That is the true test. All right. So moving on to our last category. It's what's on the top of your list for the barn. What do you got, Ellie?
Okay. So it's not necessarily something I need more of, but like I always want extra because they changed my life. And I feel like I'm hitting those grandma vibes again, but more like lawn care dad vibes. Okay. Solid brass. They have to be solid brass. Don't get the plastic ones, but the quick change hose fittings so that you don't have to screw hoses to spigots or to handles like for your nozzles. Like these things changed my life. It makes things so much faster. Like if I don't like I'm like, oh, the hose is too much pressure with this. Like it's so fast. It's just you pull it back and boom. It changed my life. It makes my chores easier. Yeah. I will never go back. I will never screw another hose into something. I have them on everything.
That's pretty awesome, actually.
Like through the winter and stuff too?
Yeah, like sometimes, like if it gets really cold, they'll get a little cold, like on the inside if like the spigot drips or something. But honestly, that's the nice thing about the solid brass ones. If you just put your hands around them for like not even a minute,
it warms it up enough.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah. That's a good tip, Ellie.
That's a good find.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will give Matt full props for that because I think he was tired of hearing me complain about things. And so he fixed the problem. So yeah, those are like, if you want to give your barn manager a gift or like your trainer a gift, somebody who's doing farm chores, get them the quick change solid brass fittings.
That's amazing.
And is the brand specific? Jen? Oh, like the Garrett Wade?
No.
Okay.
No, that was just what I found. But I think Matt got them on Amazon or something. Like the biggest thing is you just don't want to get the plastic ones.
You want the brass.
Yeah, you want the full brass. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Good to know.
So I'm on the same kind of ballpark of what you're on, like what's going to make it efficient in the barn, because a lot of our tools are DeWalt. Like that's just kind of like what our thing is. So we stayed in like, that. And we went through so many blowers, like ones that it was awful. Like more cords than you can imagine, everything else. And so, and same with the vacuums, like for the tack room and stuff. So I'm not going to kid, like we look like a DeWalt sponsored barn, and we are not a DeWalt sponsored barn, but we are 100% look like it, that we have gone to the blower for the barn and for the shows. And so we have DeWalt just batteries everywhere, which is awesome because then it uses everything. So then there's like charging stations in the tack room, in our house, in the auxiliary barn, so that now like the blower works, they just swap out the batteries. They now use it we have like a little handheld vacuum cleaner, and it's super powerful. Like, and it's just a little handheld one, like it fits in a small little closet. And so the blower and the vacuum for the barn, in like, not a vacuum for the actual barn, but for like tack room or any kind of like feed rooms, anything, it picks up everything. You dump it out and it's super powerful and it's all cordless. It works off the DeWalt battery.
Oh,
okay.
Is the blower like lightweight?
Oh yeah. And it's like super powerful. Okay. It's not as powerful when you forgot to charge the battery, obviously, but
which happens.
Obviously, which happens. So I'm not going to lie. That's happened before. So like, it's not as good as like the cord if you like aren't responsible enough for like charging it. But honestly, there's so many batteries floating around this place. Like you can find one because everything is that battery pack, and they use it multiple times a day. And it's so powerful. It cleans better than, like blows better than any other blower we've had. And you don't have any of the cords.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that because you guys know that's how I decobweb. I go up on like my ladder with a
that's
leaf
what we
blower.
Do. We blow like with a leaf blower. We blow everything. I mean,
all right.
I'm not going to lie. I was finding blankets today and everything else like for the show, and the medium weights and the trunks at the bottom had a bunch of shavings. And I was like, go get like, I asked him to go get a vacuum or a broom. And he's like, I'm going to go get the blower. So he gets the blower. I'm like, well, don't blow it near the clean blankets I just had. Like, so he takes the trunk out. He blew the entire, like, cause it was like felt lined at the bottom. He blew the whole entire like trunk out. It looked great. I was like, please do it outside. But like Doug helped me and he like took the DeWalt blower cordless and you just blow everything.
That's funny. But that's amazing. I feel like that is the best gift for anybody in a barn. You know what I mean? Like, cause you're going to use the crap out of it.
Yeah. You're going to use a vacuum and a blower. I mean, everywhere.
Right. But it's also a good gift that you could get for your non-horsey husband and then still use yourself.
And they think they're using it because it's got the DeWalt battery.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's the same battery as like half the other, equipments that they like or tools or everything else that I don't even know exist.
Yeah. No, that's a good you and me gift.
Yes. Yes.
It's the best.
Justine, what do you have?
Oh, okay. So mine's a little different too because I don't own the barn, right? So, cause I was like, what could I have add for the trailer or for the horse shows or like something that I just know we'll use all the time. And this is something that has been on my wish list forever, but it's a little pricey. So it's probably a very distant wish list for this, but I don't know if you guys have seen these, but it's a golf cart and the brand is called Cricket. But what they're known for is for making small golf carts. Like they literally fold up and you could put them in the back of an SUV. But
Holly has one.
Yeah, I was going to say, I see them at horse shows all the time because they fit in the horse trailer. They will fit in the horse stall.
It fits in a stall.
Yeah.
Hitch and Tow sells them or used to sell them. And Holly, Doug's sister has one.
I'm obsessed with it. I want it so bad.
They're the cutest little things. But they are really fast.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. The battery lasts really long, it seems like, and they're all different styles, but they come with a roof. They come with working lights and everything that you need in a golf cart. Plenty of them have extra seating off the back. So you could still put 4 people on a golf cart, or you can get like the little tow, like a little tow cartridge off the back. But for me, who like goes to a horse show, usually with one horse, like I would love to have this thing. It would fit in the back of the truck bed if I packed the trailer and needed to use the extra side of the 2-horse trailer.
So, I mean, what's cool about the Cricket is like, even if I packed the whole horse trailer and needed the second stall and the 2-horse, like I can put it in the back of the truck bed. It's just small enough where it will fit in either the trailer or the truck bed. And again, like I've seen videos on their websites where these things fold up and you can put them in the back of an SUV. But it is a fully functioning battery powered golf cart. They're amazing. I mean, they're kind of pricey. They like get into the $5,000 to $8,000 depending on like all the fixins you add to them. But I see a lot of people. I'm in like a Facebook group for Cricket golf carts, so like for resale.
Of course you are.
They're big in the villages, of course, right? Like Old People Central, and then
That's amazing.
They're big on like adult Disney people who like to go to Disney and like camp and stuff. You know what I mean? Like do the campgrounds or stay in your RV. A lot of people who do Disney have these golf carts.
And I'm playing with the fixings you can do right now. I didn't realize you can completely customize the color of your wheels.
Oh.
the color of your steering wheel. I'm like, ooh. I was like, I can't afford one, but
I was going to say now that's how you get so expensive.
I know, exactly. So the people do like trick them out and they look crazy, but this is a Florida company. They make them on the other coast. They're like over on like close to Daytona-ish. But yeah, I'm dying for one. I would love a Cricket golf cart so bad. So honestly, that is number 1 on my list with your horse link boots are now number 2, Jess, on my Christmas list. But if you guys want to see our full picks, like we've got a ton. Ellie's got lots of great variety of different horse things. Again, we're going to publish that at heelsdownmag.com. And then we also have some coupon codes. So Jess, I know you guys have one for the Ortho Vest. It feels worthwhile probably saying that, like letting listeners know what your coupon codes are.
Yes, absolutely. So yes, for the Oro vest, if you guys go, if they're not on sale already, you can go to the website and you get 20% off if you use capital DOUG and Doug, it's capital D and then lowercase OUG capital W, capital T, the number 3, capital X, and then the number 2. And we'll put that down at the bottom of those show links. But you guys can use that code for anything for 20% off the Oro vest or any of the Oro jackets. I think our farrier was so excited. He told us he bought 3 or 4 jackets and vests combo stuff.
Awesome. That's a great little perk. And we'll share all the coupon codes we have for anything that we mentioned and then whatever else is on our gift guide. Again, head to heelsdownmag.com to see all that.
Introducing the Vertical, the latest innovative saddle pad from EcoGold, a modern monochromatic pad which features breathable memory foam and soft microfiber for lightweight comfort and performance. Sleek and minimalist, it's designed to meet the needs of contemporary riders with style and function. Don't miss out on the 2025 EcoGold Armatech Apparel Collab. Complete your training or showing look with matching equestrian shirt, saddle pad, and half pad. Get the details at www.ecogold.ca.
All right, guys. So we're going to have Doug come on. Hi, Doug. It's been a minute since we've had Doug on, but I know just recently Doug and Jess took one of their young stallions for a breed inspection. And I've always wondered so much about this world. You know, like I've seen like foals be inspected, yada, yada. But I know you guys have been, the stallion you took this weekend or this last week isn't the first stallion you've had in your string. So I was hoping, Doug and Jess, that you guys could just kind of explain more of that process and why you guys are interested in having stallions as part of your program.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. We took our stallion Europa PVF he is owned in partnership with Ellen and Jerry of Pura Vida Farm. They live probably, 10 minutes from us. And we bought him as a 2-year-old from the Westphalian auction. And he's now a 5-year-old. He actually just, 2 weeks ago, won the 5-year-old young jumper championships. And we took him up there. I think it's, it's obviously super important to get these horses inspected and have a lifetime breeding license. And at this stage, after this inspection, now he has a provisional for the next 3 years. There's a chance we can get him done as a 6-year-old, or he can get a performance as a 7-year-old once he jumps the 140s. And so we're super excited.
Oh, yeah, so this isn't the first stallion, though. I remember a few others that you've trained and campaigned, Doug. Why do you guys want to include stallions in your program this day and age?
What's the benefit? Finding us.
Yeah, they keep finding us. We've had as many as 4.
Okay.
We had 5 with pony stallion at 1.2.
Yeah. Okay, so we had up to 5. I think it's it's important because in the end, especially breeding within the U.S., it's clearly not quite to the scale of what you see in Europe. And if the horses are of the quality and temperament, I think it's worthwhile to see if we can continue and breed within domestic territory. It's something that's just really deficient right now.
For sure.
Mm. So talk to us about does it require a different setup at home to manage stallions? I've never played the stallion game.
Yes and no.
Yes, and it really depends on the horse.
Well, also, let me jump in. So when we were building the farm, we did have a stallion. And so we knew we'd have, horses that would be a bit more temperamental and stuff. So we have the big yokes, big open stalls that they can go into the aisleway. But then out of the 20 stalls in the main barn, 4 of them are actually full gates, so they can't stick their heads out. And so we did that. So and they're at the very far end, not when anybody walks in. So the stallions are at the very far end of our barn. They're the last of the 20 in the main barn. So then the mares all stay at the other side and the client horses and all kind of stay there. So it's the way our barn is set up, they're a million miles away from a mare to kind of help them set up. And I'd say most of our mares are on Regimate. So yes, when you talk about the management, it has to be different. But I think that we try to set them up for the most success of being a good stallion by putting in the environment that they are not. Yes, they still have to ship in the same trailer as mares. They don't have to ship next to them, but they do have to, behave with them. But we're not every day just tormenting them, that they are very secluded. And same with turnout, like they're in the hot wired turnouts and they're not right next to them. Like they're the ones closest to the barn, so you can manage them and watch them. They're only on day turnout. And then the mares are down at the bottom. That like we do try to give them the benefit of the doubt to be a good horse, but at the end of the day, they do still have to behave.
Right. Now that makes sense. And do you guys collect for them at home, or do you?
No.
Okay, because I've heard that makes a difference, right? Like if you like actually collect them on property,
I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
No, we're so lucky. NC State's, 45 minutes from us, so we can like go ship them in and they can go collect there. We can leave them there for a week. We used when Star Witness was getting bred to Europa, we honestly dropped them off and picked them up a week later, and we're like, they need a baby together. You guys, please help us.
There you go.
But I think the important thing too, I think there's a lot to learn from all disciplines and, sort of approaches to it. And we've got a bunch of good friends. We lived in Aiken for about 6 years, Aiken, South Carolina. And there's a lot of polo there. And they also use, have a whole bunch of stallions. And they, I have a couple good friends that were up to 10 goal players. And they said, look, the stallions, we treat them as if they're geldings. And if they are more of a handful, we try to just jump all over that and make sure that they can still behave like normal horses. And I think that's the most important thing, is that from the time that they're quite young, if they start to act up or whatever, we try our best to keep them in line. And then they learn that, look, they've got to just be like a normal horse. And of course, we don't tempt them by having a mare that's in heat right next to them. Of course not. Right. But I do think if you can stay on top of it, from an early age, it's a whole lot easier.
Absolutely. That makes sense to me. So what does the inspection look like? So I've done inspections with like halflingers when I was saddle breaking them, but that was more just like a classification, not like a inspection. So what's the process like, and what does it mean for the stallion once he gets that approval?
Well, so this was pretty interesting. So we went to the North American Sport Horse like stallion inspection. So it was multiple different Westphalian, Hanoverian. You could kind of get approved for different ones.
Breed registries.
The breed registries, and you kind of applied for different ones. And since this was our first time at kind of like a big inspection like that, because during COVID, we got the Q-Bron horse inspected, but it was at our farm, and it was like quick, easy, like done. Hour later, he was like provisionally approved till performance. We're like, okay, that was easy. That's not normal, obviously, like with the normal stuff. So it was very interesting. We were very thankful that Ellen and Jerry were there with us to kind of guide us in the ways, because they had been there the year before. They also breed a lot of pony stallions and pony breeding. So they took one of the pony stallions last year and could kind of guide us. And so since he was bought at the Westphalian auction, we wanted him to really be kind of licensed and approved Westphalian as long as he gets his final thing. So it was very, very different, because you have to kind of like go, and there were a lot of rules and everything. And I'll let Doug kind of tell you a day to day. I mean, it was 3 long days of being, and it was great, but it was 3 long kind of process days.
So day one, you show up, you had a initial meeting, gave you the framework of what's going to happen. We flatted the horses.
No, we jogged them first.
Oh, jog them sort of similar to what you'd see at an FEI jog, stand them up and then walk them back and forth and then trot back and forth. And then we went and had a flat day. So you just, without jumping, and of course, Europa's a jumper. We had a flat day. So just more or less a normal day without jumping, what exercises you would do and, different things you might be working on to help improve them. And then the inspectors would come down and give you some feedback internally. So they wouldn't necessarily talk to the crowd that's watching, but they would talk to me as the rider to say, look, this was good, this is bad, whatever you're working on, that kind of thing. And then the second day, what did we flat them a bit first and then jump?
Yeah,
I can't quite remember.
Then you had to do the flat kind of test, and then you went into the jumping, and then the last.
Yeah, and they had sort of a practice jumping. So it was basic, couple jumps.
Yeah, the morning you practiced it, all that, and then you tested that afternoon before the final.
And then the initial was just to get familiar with the arena and the jumps. Jumped just 2 jumps of the course. And then you went back in the afternoon, a couple hours later, and you did your jumping test. So again, short warm up, and then you went out and jumped a course. Again, at that point, you'd get some feedback, and then the inspector also would address the crowd of auditors and say, this is good, this is bad, whatever it might be. And then the third day he'd come back, I would hop on, warm him up a bit, and then they have an approved rider that would get on and then jump effectively the same course as a second rider to give feedback to the inspectors on rideability and what they feel for the horses.
So then how do you know? Like, it's just at the end of the whole process, they tell you like, okay, you passed, or do you get like a judgment, or like, know what I mean?
It was kind of strange. Like, we didn't have any guidelines to where you were going to be. Like, and Europa jumped they were testing at like a meter 10 kind of height. And he had just won the 5-year-olds at Tryon and the 5-year-olds at a 120. So because these horses, it's a big difference. And so they and apparently the more times you go with a certain horse, they get better scores. And so it's a very new process for us. But at the end of the day, he got approved with Westphalian, and that was like the biggest thing. And so he gets scores, and they were good enough. And like, it's kind of a weird process that like, I think the more you're there, kind of like, it's like dressage. The more you're in the ring, if you're Michael Young, you might get a couple extra points type thing. And so if you're there every year, you might get a couple extra points. I don't know. Maybe not. That's just what kind of our experience was, because it was very different. It was not bad. It was very, positive. And the breeders that we went with were amazed that like, we went and we spent the time to do this, because that's not kind of our normal day-to-day kind of showing. But it was interesting. It was not a bad different. It was just different. And we learned a lot, and he got approved. That's the best thing. And then the provisional approval the biggest thing is why the breeders really wanted us, the co-owners, to do this is he has babies on the ground right now. And for them to get approved, he needs this like pre-approval type thing.
I see. Okay.
He can't get fully licensed approval like for lifetime until he's either done 2 testings or he gets performance, which he can maybe get as a 6-year-old. They're trying to work on it, getting it in this country. Or when he's a 7-year-old jumping the 140s, he can get performance based. But he needed to get this one to kind of bypass some time. So the foals that these co-owners, they have a couple of his foals on the ground. They want them to be approved by Westphalian. So that was kind of the driving force of us learning about this. And we're glad everything worked out. Everybody went well. He behaved in honestly like a different environment. He's never been around that many stallions. And I was pretty amazed. I mean, we definitely had him on the, G-Chill and the Sinutra Sin-Chill, because it kept him quiet when all the raging stallions were being wild. He was on his best behaved manners. So like that was honestly the amazing part.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I have a question that is a very loaded and difficult question. And I'm sure if you knew the answer, you would be multimillionaires.
Oh gosh.
So what have you learned about like what makes good breeding selection? I feel like so much of this is kind of chance with stallion
luck?
and mare.
I was going to say luck.
But have you like noticed anything that you like really look for now when you're making that the pairing?
The Star Witness mare is so smart.
I would say the mare line is so critical.
Okay.
Because I would, in our estimation, it's probably almost like a 60-40 split, like that the mare has more of an influence over the foals than the stallion for sure. But if, it all depends what you're breeding for. If you're if you're looking for something that's going to hopefully be competitive in top sport, that's one thing. And then if you're looking for more of a sort of amateur riding situation, that's probably a bit of a different situation. And I think that's the most difficult thing with these breed inspections, because, it's funny. I think the top sport drives the interest in a particular breed, but most people are looking for like a good, genuine citizen that anybody could ride. And so that's, I think it's a bit of a balancing act that these breed registries are looking for, because we also this is a couple of years back, Van Diver was a Trakehner, and we ended up going to the Trakehner convention, and it was interesting. It was actually super similar in many ways, because what I thought initially would have been my top pick, the guy that, the main inspector that was there, was talking them over some bourbon at the end of the night, and he's like, look, in the end, for sure, that might be the best for your top end, but for a majority of people that are looking to buy these horses, that might not be the best, because it might be too sharp or too careful or whatever it might be. And so I think there's definitely a balancing act, and I don't know that there's any real easy, straightforward solution to it.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So this is a question for both of you, Jess and Doug. Like, why do you think this is an interesting and maybe an important part of your professional program? Like, do you feel like you've learned, like, what you've learned so far from, doing this most recent stallion inspection? Like, would you want to do more? Is that something you want to grow into, or?
For the right stallion? Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Like, it was a great experience. We met amazing people and learned a lot. And honestly, like, for the right stallion, 100% would we go back and do that. And I think it's an important, integral part in making the process of them getting licensed and approval, that it is important that, yeah, we would 100%. And I think what's important for us, and the reason that we do it, is because we can't just go buy top horses. So what we found is we generally buy, weanlings or 2-year-olds or younger horses. And then if we can breed one here and there and it works out that we don't have to, it's at the end of the day the same price, but if we can kind of luck into the breeding and have it with our stallion, like, how cool would that be as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think it'd be awesome. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to introduce our guest this month. It's David Reichert. That might not be a name you know, but you definitely have been hearing about United Dressage and Jumping Club, this brand new show circuit that David is the founder of. I have seen David's face on social media for months now promoting the UDJC. They're really, really fun, interesting short videos explaining what the UDJC is, which is a new show circuit out there that aims to be affordable, forward-facing in terms of the classes are designed with horse welfare in mind, and really trying to put the fun back in horse showing and putting it back in the competitors' hands, and just so people and horses have a good time. Hey, David, welcome. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm very excited.
So actually, spoiler alert, guys, we are taping this before UDJC is hosting their first horse show in Florida, in Tampa, in just a couple of weeks. And I actually just submitted my entries with Mikey, so you'll hear more about the horse show after we compete. But I'm super stoked to give it a try. But David, we want to learn more about UDJC and what made you want to start something different than what we're used to, at least here in America, in terms of USEF, USHGA, USDF, all these organizations that we have to pay for in order to go to a horse show.
Yeah, affordability is one thing, of course, and that's a big one. But other than the affordability, I just think there are a lot of things going into the wrong direction. It feels like the other big organizations are, try to take care of the top 10% of people or the top 2% of people, and everybody else is like, yeah, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Even though as a national organization being connected to the FEI and the Olympic Committee, as far as I understand, their job is to make sure that the sport itself, including everybody in the sport, is developing into the correct direction. And that is just absolutely not happening. So we have a big riding school here in Texas, in Houston, and for 5 years, we were taking kids to dressage and jumping shows, recognized shows, schooling shows, and pretty much ever since the beginning I came here from Germany, I was the whole show system was very weird to me. So I just got madder and madder and madder. And I talked to a lot of people. I talked to a lot of people on boards. I talked to a lot of judges, and all of that was nonsense. It didn't go anywhere, obviously. So I figured last year, pretty much a year ago now, okay, if I want change, then I have to do the change myself. So I locked myself in the office for 3 weeks and wrote the whole rule book, all the dressage tests, all that stuff. It's a very proven system. So I didn't invent a lot. I mean, we have ability dressage classes that I kind of invented, and a couple of things are new. But what it is at the end of the day is it's the German system, kind of. You know, the German show system, the German trainer system. I mean, everything is, of course, very German because this is where I grew up and this is where I'm familiar with. And yeah, and it's not only the German system. We took a couple things from Austria. We took a couple things from the Netherlands. We just tried to build the best possible system with the best ingredients that are out there. And yeah, I think we have it pretty good.
Yeah. So give our listeners a glimpse into what makes it different. So, cause the circuits, there's hunter classes, there's jumper classes, and dressage classes. But you're not judged the way that we're used to, say, if you grew up, riding in America, doing to the USEF route. For example, I'm going to show dressage in Tampa. So,
good.
Yeah, the ability classes are going to be very interesting. It almost like it blends multiple worlds for me as a former hunter rider, where it almost feels like a flat class, but with dressage movements in it. So tell me more about
different levels. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the ability classes, they pretty much happened on accident, and they turned out to be a total game changer. So when I designed the dressage classes, or when I wrote the dressage tests, of course, we have very classic dressage tests from technically training level to fourth level. We call it EALMS, but training level to fourth level, we have 3 different dressage tests, and they're called benchmark tests. What we don't like about USDF, or what I don't like about USDF, is that everybody's allowed to ride whatever they want. There's no kind of qualification for anything, which is mind-blowing to me. So, of course, in UDJC, we said, well, you have to qualify for a specific level by being successful in the level beneath. Sure. So then and then after I designed all of that, and it's like, oh yeah, cool. It's very easy. I mean, just you have to qualify. So, but what are we going to do with the people that are legit higher level dressage riders? I also don't want to tell them, oh, why don't you start at training level and then take a year to move up the levels? I mean, that's nonsense too, of course. But then we also didn't want to use USDF scores, because the scoring, the judging in USDF, the stuff I've seen in the last 5 years, I don't trust anybody. I don't believe anybody. All your pre-St. George scores, whatever, keep them. I don't want to see it, because I've seen crazy things. So I said, okay, we need to come up with something that is kind of a shortcut for dressage qualification. So I came up with this ability concept, and what it is, it's quite different than regular dressage tests. It's judged on the rider only, not at all on the horse. So you can come into high level ability classes with a $200 auction pony that has absolutely zero quality, but if quality in terms of, gaits and impulsion, right, and all these things. So, but if you are a very good, legit 4th level or S level rider, and your $200 auction pony looks beautiful and does all the movement and is submissive and through and supple, then you can win the class. So the quality of the horse does not matter at all. We want to see in these ability classes that the rider is a legit 4th level rider. Also, the concept works a little different. We have 3 people in a free part. We have 3 people in the class together at the same time, and they ride around in the arena just like in a lesson or a clinic. There are level specific movements. In the training level ability class, it's just, a couple circles, a halt, relatively basic things. But then in our S level, which is 4th level, there are tempi changes and full canter pirouettes and half passes in the trot and in the canter. So it's always level specific. So 3 riders ride around, and they ride level specific movements that the judges call out. That's for about 10 to 12 minutes. Once the judges have seen all the different movements, the riders are being scored with collectives, not for every single movement, but scored with collectives. So you get 4 different overall scores at the end of the free part. And the judges bring everybody in and give the riders feedback on a microphone right there in their faces. Hey, you rode it really well. I loved your shoulder ins. I loved your half passes. Your flying changes were not so good. Why don't you try this or that? So the judge gives the rider verbal feedback right after the free part. And then everybody individually writes a very short, small pattern, not the 6-7 minute test, like a 2.5 minute pattern where that is scored as well. And then your score from the pattern and your score from the free part combined is your total score. If you score well 3 times in a specific ability level, you automatically cross-qualify for the benchmark. So if you are a high-level dressage rider and you come in and you say, I want to unlock all the UDJC dressage classes, you go into our S-level ability, get 3 good scores because you're a good rider, and that pretty much unlocks all the dressage for you. So that it's what has been designed as a shortcut kind of turned out to be the jackpot, because let me tell you, almost all the dressage riders love the ability classes. They say, oh, I don't even want to ride regular dressage tests anymore. This is so much more fun. I'm in the arena with other people. The judge is not looking at me all the time. I don't have to ride a 6-minute test. So for professionals or, very ambitious teens and pony and all that, regular dressage tests will always be there, of course. I love regular dressage tests, but for a lot of amateurs, for a lot of people that want to come to a dressage show and have a good time and not be anxious to go into the arena, this is such a great test or such a great concept.
Yeah, I love it. I can't wait to give it a try. I think it's a great idea. And just a fresh take on all the same fundamentals of what we do in training at home, right? But aren't, it kind of takes that pressure off, like what you're saying, when you get to the show ring. But can you talk a little bit about the jumpers and the hunters? Because I was reading the rule book and I was really impressed by how you've set up the structure for show jumping. It's not just how fast can you get around the jumps. There's more to how riders are scored there as well. Can you tell me more about it?
Yeah, of course. So for me, dressage, jumping, hunters, it's all the same. You got to learn how to ride the horse. There's no discipline. There's no low level. Oh, I'm a dressage rider. I'm a hunter. No, you got to learn how to ride the horse. So that being said, jumpers, even though you call them jumpers, are not supposed to race in 65 centimeter classes. It's not only dangerous, it also makes 0 sense. If you are really, really good at racing in 70 centimeter classes, you're most likely not going to be a Grand Prix rider later on. You need a solid foundation. You need to learn how to ride. So all the jumper classes, 85 centimeter and below in UDJC, are judged on style. So on how well do you ride as a jumper? As an example, McLean Ward would get very, very good scores, obviously, because he rides beautifully here, So that's what we want to see. Jumper riding, we want to see the shortening the strides, lengthening the strides, having a good rhythm, having a good balance, having a good seat and eight, and then you get a good score. It's pretty much an equitation class, but nobody can explain me. If I look into the rule book and look what an equitation class is, it says it's only judged on the rider. But then you go to a show and you want to win a class and they tell you, oh, you don't have a $250,000 horse, so you cannot win the class. So what is it now? Is it judged on the rider or on the horse? Nobody knows. In UDJC, it's judged on the rider. Again, you can come with your auction pony that you before rode in the 4th level dressage test. You come into the style jumping classes and you do really well and you ride really well. You get a really good score. So after that or above that, 95 centimeter and above, we have all kinds of regular jumping classes. So a lot of people think, oh, UDJC, they only do equitation. No, we have, starting at 95 centimeter, we have a bunch of different formats. We have regular jump off classes. We have falls and time. We have 2 phases. We have joker classes. That's kind of like a gambler's choice. That's a cool format that we'll always run. So there is a whole variety of different higher level regular jumping classes that we run, but everything on the bottom is judged no matter what. And then in the 40s, 50s, and 65, those very little jumping classes, we run them in a group format. So again, you have 4 riders at the same time coming into the jumper ring, and they ride a very short flat class. We just want to see, the judges want to see, okay, typically kids are able to walk, trot, canter their horses. They're safe. They can ride a couple of transitions. They show some 2-point position. That is judged on the seat and eights. And then everybody individually rides the little jumping round. And the 40 centimeter class starts with 4 cross rails from the trot. So you ride a little equitation and then you trot over 4 cross rails. After that, the judge again grabs the microphone, gives you feedback, and gives you a score. The 50 centimeter is 2 cross rails from the trot and then 4 little verticals from the canter. And the 65 centimeter then is a full course with 7, 8 jumps, pretty much, a couple of little oxers. And also the 65 always starts with a gymnastic line. That's one thing that we try to force everybody to do. Ride gymnastic lines at home, because it's important for you at that level of riding to be quick, to get a good rhythm, to develop, a lot of good things, and also for the horses. So we realized after the first couple shows, nobody's really jumping gymnastic lines. So we put a gymnastic line into the 65s. That's how it starts. It's from the trot. It's a little cross bounce, the 2 cross rails, and then it's 1 stride to a vertical and 2 strides to an oxer. So that's the grid all the 65 centimeter classes start with. And then you keep on cantering and you ride the rest of the course. And then the 75 and the 85 are pretty much individual classes where everybody just goes in, rides, gets a feedback and a score and comes back out. No flat class anymore. And then at 95 is when the regular jumping classes begin. But we might also run a 1.50 m style class. I mean, we can do that too. So the show organizer is very flexible when it comes to putting the show schedule together pretty much in those higher classes.
So what's the response been like? You've hosted several shows at this point in different parts of the country. What's the feedback been like?
To be honest, very, very, very good.
I love
it. It's hard. It's hard sometimes to get people to show up to the show, to get them to really come, because it is so different. And a lot of people say, oh, but we're in the middle of chasing points for some year-end ribbons, whatever. But everybody who comes to the show really likes it. We get very, very, very little negative feedback, and that also not into our faces, also behind our backs. A lot of people talk really good about UDJC and the shows, and it's a totally different atmosphere. And that's also something that's really almost unexplainable. You'll hopefully see it in 2 weeks in Tampa or in 10 days. Everybody's chill. Everything is easygoing. Everything is on time. Nobody's stressed out. Nobody's pissed off. I mean, it's just a different atmosphere. The hunters, if you want me to jump into the hunters real quick. So that is probably the biggest difference. That is probably where we get the most, well, I don't know if pushback is the right word, but that's where people are the most confused about, because we cut all the low-level hunters out of the picture. We don't have any low-level hunters. We don't have any short stirrups. We don't have any of this. Our hunters start at 2'6", which I think is still relatively low, 2'6", and the courses are a lot more complicated to ride. More jumps. Everything is kind of derby-like. So we have 10 to 12 jumps in the regular over fence rounds. We have 12 to 14 jumps in the handies. There are a bunch of rollbacks, even in the over fences. So we don't have any outside line, diagonal. Outside line drives me insane. So we completely changed that, because we say our message is learn how to ride the horse in dressage and style jumping classes first. When you're good in those style jumping classes and you ride 85 centimeter and you do that well and you like being judged and you don't want to go higher and you don't want to go fast, perfect. Go into the hunters and ride hunters. You don't need to go up to 1.40 m and race against the clock. So, but we want everybody, we need, and this is so important, we need to get the kids into dressage. They need to have a basic understanding of dressage. They need to have a basic understanding on how to ride the horse on the bit, on how to ride into the corner, how to ride simple dressage movements. I'm not saying everybody needs to be a Grand Prix dressage rider, but if you go to an A show and you ask 1,000 kids, mainly hunter kids, if they can ride the horse on the bit or if they ever rode a dressage test in their life, they say, no, I've never done it and I've never practiced at the barn. And that is very, very sad and alarming. And that's why many, many, many riders hit a ceiling at 90 centimeter or 1 meter and never make it above that. And that's very hard to see. That's one of the big things that I always complained about, is like, how can we have tens of thousands of kids starting the sport every year, and you have a handful that ever makes it to 1.10 m or to 1.20 m jumping class and to a 3rd level dressage test, because everybody gets kind of stuck in this. I don't even know. That's very alarming to me.
You're preaching to the choir here. I know exactly what you're talking about. I feel like there's also, even from adults in the jumper ring, there's people want the Instagram picture of their horse looking around, but not necessarily want to invest the time in helping do that. So I think even though it can improve their jumping game, right? Just understanding the fundamentals of riding, essentially. So I love to hear that. I'm not surprised to hear that there's some confusion, right? Like we've all been horse showing this one way for many, many years. And David, you're among the first to kind of turn it on its head and give people another option. But I guess what's your end game? Like, how big do you want this to be? Or it sounds like we're just in the very beginning.
We're in the very beginning. I mean, you got to keep in mind we're like 9 months old or so, and we had 50 shows this year in 12 different states, and everything is going super well. We want it to be as big as possible, but we don't want it so big that it becomes unmanageable or slow, or, you know, not listening to people anymore, not being able to listen to feedback anymore, all these negative things. We'll see. Nobody knows how big it's going to be, you know, and we also don't want to force it. That's also something that everybody needs to understand. We want to have this as an alternative. This is not a business. This is not to make money. This whole thing cost me a bunch of money and still does cost me a bunch of money. Our shows are so affordable. There's not really, you know, any money being made, but I just want to have a different equestrian scene. I mean, if you ask me what I want to have a UDJC show every weekend during show season within an hour of a drive from everybody that is maybe not living in Wyoming, but you know, like in regular areas, I want to have shows everywhere, and I want to change the whole equestrian scene. And I think we need to change the whole equestrian scene because the whole scene developed completely into the wrong direction. It became something that is not real horsemanship anymore, not real taking care of horses anymore. It's just a bunch of, like you said, Instagram reels, and we're losing a lot of very, very important values in this sport. And this is something that's very interesting if you think about it. That sport, and there are Harvard studies about that. You can research all of that. This sport can create absolutely, how can I put that? If you grow up in the horse scene the correct way, and you're taking care of your horse, and you're responsible, and you're gritty, and you're all in pretty much 7 days a week, mucking your stalls, you are more likely to be successful later in life. It develops a lot of positive things that are, you know, very important for the rest of your life. If you do it correctly, old school. If you do it old school. If you do it wrong, you get the exact opposite. You create a bunch of brats. And that is, we have to be very, very careful in how we develop riders and kids and teens in this sport. You know what I mean? It's such a big variety of creating really, really good, responsible kids and creating absolutely the opposite of that. And that's why I'm, you know, so behind all these things. And, you know, when we talk about UDJC certified riding schools, that's the next step. We're developing a bunch of certified riding schools now with a curriculum where we want everybody to teach dressage and jumping and teach the UDJC way and have riding badges that you have to pass and before you can go on to the next level, and all these pretty much kind of pony club like things. We need to get that back. These kids, you cannot go to a show and ask 1,000 kids if they can put a bridle on and 900 of them don't know how to do it. It's sad, you know, and that's what I'm fighting against. And everybody who wants to fight that with me, come on board. And everybody who thinks, oh, but I'm making a bunch of money off these people, you better stay with USEF then. That's fine. We don't even want you to come. Stay away. So, you know, we don't try to get as many people as possible to the shows, and then we want to make it right for everyone. And, oh yeah, you need this and that. You need this nonsense. We'll do it for you. You're used to the other nonsense. Oh yeah, we'll do it for you too. We don't care. This is what it is. If you like it, you come on board and you're going to have a bad time and you develop your kids into the right direction, or you're not on board. Fine. Stay with USEF. I don't care. And let me tell you one thing. I always say kids. I don't mean always to say kids, but we have we have a kids riding school, and that's why I'm used to, you know, saying always kids. We don't even have any adults. But of course, when I mean kids, when I say kids, I mean, you know, kids and adults, lower level riding,
right? People who go to a horse show with a trainer. Yep, I get what you're saying.
Exactly. And you don't need to bring a trainer to a UDJC horse show as well. That's another thing that, I showed dressage and jumping Grand Prix both, and I went to a horse show with a trainer maybe 3 times in my life. And that was at European Championships or something like that. Nobody in Europe goes to a horse show with a trainer, and here it's like, oh, I cannot even go into the ring without my trainer. What do you mean you cannot go into? Well, I cannot go because my trainer is not here. Well, who cares where your trainer is? Go in the ring.
Yep. It's a very different culture, and as someone who grew up, I rode mostly as an eventer. That is the standout discipline, right? Where most people, adults go by themselves, but the hunter jumper world, the dressage world, 100% people are tied to their trainers for better or worse. So interesting. Yep. So tell me about the judges? How do you select judges for this? Because it's a little bit more, more involved, I think, from the judging standpoint than what we're used to with USEF.
Yeah, it is especially because of the feedback. You cannot hide as a UDJC judge. You're sitting right there on the spot. And that makes it hard, or, not hard, but it's a more complex job pretty much than just, hide in a little room and then write some scores So yes, what we do, we have a little different approach to judging, and we have a blog article about that on the website that everybody can read if they want to. We have a judges symposium. So if somebody wants to become a UDJC judge, they have to come to a symposium, which is 2 days of just learning the rules, learning the scoring, learning all that stuff in a classroom. And then it's 3 days, at least if you're good, it's 3 days of assistant judging at a horse show, plus a written test, of course. But the judges are pre-selected already. So we don't believe in judges' education. If I have to educate you to become a judge, you're not a judge. So, because you need 30 years of valuable experience in order to be a judge, in my opinion. You cannot make somebody a judge. This is what USDF is doing. Oh, you have nothing to do, Karen? Well, why don't you become a judge? Here, we give you some education. Well, no. We're not giving you education. You please better have education if you want to become a judge. And what we also do, we talk a lot of people into becoming judges, to be honest. So if we know there is a trainer, there is a specialist, somebody who is a really good rider, a really good trainer, somebody who's very valuable for the horse industry, we tell them, hey, you need to be a judge in UDJC. Christian Rogi is the best example. Christian Rogi is a German guy who moved to Texas probably 35 years ago. He's 60 something years old. He's a good friend of mine, and he's a great rider. He's a Grand Prix jumper, but he also rode high level dressage back in the days in Germany. He did some actually even high level eventing. So he has been there, done that, seen it all. A super valuable person for the sport. And in the very beginning, I said, Christian, you got to come judge. And he's like, I'm not a judge. I'm not going to judge. I'm like, well, but we're going to make you a judge. So we take somebody like Christian, and there's also not a lot to explain, or not that I have to explain to him, because he also grew up in the German system. So he knows all the scoring and all that. So we made him a judge, of course, because his opinion, if he gives you feedback, that's the real deal. That's good feedback to get. He can give you a score. He can give you feedback, and that's very, very valuable for you. And that's what we want to have. We want to have people that are specialists in their discipline, or maybe even in multiple disciplines. And then if they test out and they have all the knowledge and everything that they need, of course, then we make them judges. And we have about 35 judges on the list right now, and we're permanently working on getting more because we need more. So if somebody out there who is listening to this wants to become a judge and has the knowledge, please contact us. We have on the website, we have a form that you can fill out to put yourself on the list to possibly become a judge.
Okay, awesome. Well, David, what else do listeners need to know? If they are learning about UDJC for the first time right now, listening to this interview, what have we not covered that you feel like they need to know?
Well, I think we have covered quite a bit. What's just, like I said, what's interesting for us, or what we want to achieve, is that people don't see this as, I'm a dressage rider, I'm a hunter, I'm a jumper. No, you're not. Ride the horse first. And then when you're very good at riding the horse, then we can maybe pick a discipline for you, And also, if you're a kid out there and you ride jumper classes and you want to ride a meter or meter 10 class or something like that. You don't need a meter 40 warm blood from Germany for $150,000, because let me tell you, every single thoroughbred in this world and every single warm blood and every single appendix can jump over a meter class if you're a good rider. That's another thing that drives me insane, is not only the money at horse shows. Horse shows are of course way too expensive, but that cutting that down is not only the only thing we're doing. What we're actually doing, we're taking the quality of the horse, at least in lower levels, pretty much completely out of the picture, because you don't need quality, expensive horses in order to ride a meter jumping class or a second level dressage test or a 3-foot hunter class. You don't need quality. Also, I didn't mention that our judging in the hunters is very different. We only about 20-25%, maybe 20% is on the horse. The rest is on the rider. So we took the judging for the hunters from the British working hunters, and that of course is where everything is coming from, and that's where we want to go again. So we took the judging from the working hunters and how our over fence classes and our handies are being judged in 4 different categories. You get 100 points total. 30 of these points are coming from the category seat and aids. So you can get, for very, very good riding and a very good seat, you get up to 30 points in that category. Your second category, also for 30 points, is forward movement, rhythm, suppleness, rideability of the horse pretty much. We want to see the horses canter forward. We don't want to see those drugged, kind of slow horses crawling around an outside line. We want them to be active and going. And if they shake their head, if they swoosh their tail, we don't care. If they do a little buck, as a matter of fact, who cares? Ride forward, ride the horse. We don't want to see any of this nonsense. So that is another 30 points for that. Then 20 points is for your track and planning, which is important because our hunter courses are more complicated to ride, so the track and planning is very important. If you ride a really good track and the judge sees you kind of know where you're at and you know what you're doing, you get 18, 19, maybe even 20 points in that category. And the last category is for the quality of the horse. That's where we really judge how well does the horse jump and all that. So at the end of the day, it's technically 20%, maybe even a little less, because even if you have a horse that is not awesome, well, you still get 10 points in that category, so the difference between a normal horse and a really, really good horse is maybe 10-12%. So the most is on the riding and on the rider, of course. And then, you need better horses automatically whenever you need them. If you want to ride a meter 40 class, well, yeah, then you need a good horse. There's no arguing about that. If you want to ride a higher level dressage class, you need some suspension, you need some impulsion, you need some power, then you need a better horse. But nobody needs to judge a dressage test, a first level dressage test on the quality of the horse. Learn how to ride, please, first, before you worry about your horse's quality. Same in the hunters. And that's also what makes the sport so expensive, right? Because we give people, not we, people course, give, yeah. trainers give people the impression, and it's a shortcut for everything, and it drives me nuts. A lot of trainers, they're not knowledgeable enough to produce riders, and then they say, oh, so it's somebody's fault. Well, it's probably either the judge's fault or it's the quality of the horse's fault. You need a better horse. Well, nonsense. You need to teach the kid better. So we take that out of the picture pretty much, and we want to give everybody a chance to come with whatever horse they have and show that they're good riders and good horsemen, and then they're successful. Because that's another thing. See, what the USEF system is doing to trainers, and trainers need to wake up. What USEF is doing, if you want to do things correctly, you have to, you're not going to be successful. And that is very important to understand. If somebody comes to our riding school, a mom with a 7-year-old, and they ask, hey, how long does it take my daughter to be successful in this sport? We'll tell her, well, you're going to win your first ribbon in 6 years. Like, what do you mean in 6 years? Well, you have to be in the riding school for 2 years, learn how to walk, trot, and canter. Then you get into a more competitive full training or 4 times a week environment where you have to practice another year before you can even go to a show and ride a 70 centimeter class with 12 jumps and 2 combinations. You know how many times I've seen them take the Saturday night Grand Prix and then they put it on 70 centimeters and tell you in the next morning, this is the kids class. That's the 70 centimeter class. You're out of your mind. The only thing they do is take out the triple combination. The rest is like the 70 centimeter. That is hard to ride. You know, that's not a beginner class. Right. So it takes another year that you have to stay at home practicing 4 or 5 days a week to even go to a show. And then, because we take the hunters out of it, of course, you know, then I'm not going to allow you to ride fast in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s. Maybe when you ride a meter 5, meter 10, I might allow you to ride fast because then you're good enough to ride fast without actually dying. So that's 6 years of not being successful, but almost nobody can do that. I mean, we're very lucky to be in a very good area here in Houston. We have hundreds of kids and wait lists to the moon. We can kind of do it. You know, we can be cocky about it and we can say, well, it is what it is. If you don't like it, go somewhere else.
Right.
But most riding schools that are not in brilliant areas, well, it's hard for them because they need every single customer and they need every single student. So as a trainer, you have to accommodate and you have to say, oh, I have to make these kids successful because otherwise they're leaving.
Right.
So you have to either let them race, which is the wrong thing to do, or you put them in those hunter classes where they stay forever, which is the wrong thing to do as well. So USEF puts you on the wrong path with fake success. And that's what makes it so dangerous. And that's the difference between the European system and the American system. I can tell you that. We have great horsemen in America. We have great trainers in America. We have great riders in America, of course, but they're being forced to kind of do the wrong thing in order to keep their business going. So, and that's the good thing about the German organization. We have the same issues in Germany. Not everything is great in Germany. Actually, the opposite is the case. The riding get worse and worse. The trainers get worse and worse every year. So we have the same downhill spiral in Europe that we have in America here. The difference is though that the European national systems, all of them, are working like a safety net. They still reward you for the right things. If you bring somebody to a show and they ride a 70 centimeter class and they ride it well, the way they're supposed to ride it, you know, good seat, good aids, blah, 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 all of that, then they're successful. So if you do the right thing, you're successful. And that's the opposite here. Here you have to do the wrong thing to be successful. So these parents tell me, oh, it takes 6 years. Okay, but then we go to the barn around the corner because they told me the kid can go to the show in 10 days and they get a blue ribbon. I'm like, well, have fun, knock yourself out, go. You know what I mean? It's sad. It's sad.
It is. And it's a cultural thing, right? Like, you know, this is a conversation we've been having in the sport for a long time, at least the last decade for me. When I think about it, I just don't think kids grow up being barn rats, like spending every day in the barn anymore. Like what you're saying, David, like somebody who's committed to mucking out stalls, who wants to be a part of, or wants to know what their horse eats, wants to know, you know, the ins and outs of the care and being more involved. I see a lot of kids who come for the lesson, then leave, and then see the trainer and the horse again at the horse show, and then go home. So how do we teach people to love the horse?
It's the trainer's fault. Yeah. It's the trainer's fault. It's all the trainer's fault because they let it happen. I can tell you it doesn't happen at my barn. It doesn't happen here. And we're dealing with the same people and the same parents and the same kids everybody else is dealing. But it's a different approach. We start kids when they're 2 years old here in the riding school. We have a lead line program for 2 and 3 and 4 year olds. And even that is strict. They have to help picking the feet. They have to help brushing the pony. They have to help getting everything ready, even if they're 2 years old. The atmosphere in the barn, and it's what the trainers do. You know, for the trainers, it's always easy to say, oh yeah, but it's so complicated these days. The kids only want to play on the phone and the parents are whiny. And yeah, I get it. You know, it is more complicated than it probably was 20 years ago, but you can still create really, really good kids. I mean, we have a bunch of barn rats here. We have a bunch of kids that are still in the riding school and tap into the full training, you know, slowly. They're kind of on the edge of coming into the full training program, but they're still in the riding school. We have like 20 of them They run around here everywhere, and they're here every day because we tell them, you better be here every day. We tell the parents, come, drop the kid off and leave again. Let them be here. Let them play around. Let them help the trainers. And they're responsible kids. Even the riding school kids at the end of the riding school level, those kids can almost do everything. I mean, those kids, my full training kids, when they're 9, 10 years old, we move them into the full training program. They can go to a show by themselves, and they do. I'm not kidding you. Wow. When I had it a year ago, so I was in Germany with my wife, and I had a 9-year-old and a 10-year-old that wanted to go to a show. And I told the mom, take my truck, take my trailer, hook it up, and just drive. The mom doesn't know anything. And the kids did everything themselves. They paraded the ponies. They went to the show. They went to the show office. They warmed up. It's a year and a half ago. They did everything themselves. Everything. Wow. They would just, but that's not a great achievement. It's not, oh my God, wow. It's the most normal thing in the world. It's so normal. So we got to make this normal again, or maybe not again. We have to make this normal in general, that these kids and everybody know what they're doing.
So David, will you be on the ground in Tampa in 10 days?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
great.
I'll be there.
All right. Well, so for anyone who's listening, if you have questions about UDJC or want to learn more, I will also be on the ground at the show in Tampa, and I'm happy to find David and pepper him with more questions. So please, you could post them in our Facebook group or send me an email, but stay tuned. I'm happy to give a full review of what the experience was like. But David, before we let you go, where can people find more information about UDJC?
On the website is pretty decent. There is a lot of information on it. And then also social media, of course. Like, we're very up to date with social media. All the news are pretty much on social media first before it's on the website. So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok are our channels. And yeah, give us a follow and stay on top of things.
Okay.
And we're very excited for Florida, especially next year. Texas and Florida, those are going to be our first 2 circuits. So we rearranged the shows a little bit. If we still have a minute, let me tell you about that.
Yeah.
This year we kind of went everywhere. We had shows in Colorado and most of them, some of them we put on, some of them somebody else put on, but we always felt so included in it. And we were kind of running around everywhere. And we had some really, really good shows and big shows. And we had some smaller shows that were not as successful or not as big as we would have liked for them to be. So, but it was a little complicated for us because we don't have a network everywhere, obviously.
Right. You're building it as you go. Yeah.
We're building it. And I have connections here in Houston, but that's pretty much it. So I don't know anybody in Ohio. I don't know how to fill a show in Ohio if the show organizer is not full power into it,
right.
Then it's kind of hard. So anyways, that being said, I told you about the UDJC riding schools. And what we're doing is we'll have the certified riding schools that teach our curriculum and all these things. And these riding schools, some of them are small, some of them are big. They will run so-called foundation shows. I hate to say the word schooling shows, but they're not schooling shows. They're fully recognized. You can get points. You can get your placings, of course. You can do your badges. The riding school kids can do their badges, or adults. But they're on a smaller scale. They always have young horse classes. We always, at every single show, we have young horse classes because that's another problem that we don't have time for today. But that's a huge issue, that whole topic, young horses. So long story short, foundation shows are going to be full UDJC shows, professional courses, professional judging, super affordable at smaller or bigger barns, but typically open for the public if it's not super tiny, of course.
Got it.
So, and then we ourselves as an organization run the so-called circuit shows. And we have in 2026 a circuit in Texas and a circuit in Florida. So we will have shows at the Great Southwest Equestrian Center, 10 or so in Katy. And we have 14 shows in an equestrian center, Opry Meadows in Dallas. So we have 25 shows in Texas, and we have about 25 shows in Florida, in Tampa, at Terra Nova, at the Florida Horse Park in Ocala.
Wow.
So we have different venues with a really cool circuit. The circuit shows are bigger. The circuit shows they go all the way up to 1.40 meters, 1.50 meters, high level dressage. They have all 3 rings all the time. foundation shows have dressage and jumping always, hunters if they're big enough. But at the circuit shows, we have all 3 rings, overnight stabling. I mean, they're just bigger shows, and they're being ran by the organization. That's the only way how we can keep them affordable and have a good quality. At the circuit shows, we have a young horse championship series. We have an elite youth championship for pony children, junior, young rider, where you can get qualifications to come to the year end show. And I mean, all this cool stuff is happening at circuit shows. So long story short, the foundation shows is what we're going to do everywhere throughout the country. And then we start with the Texas and the Florida circuit. In 2026, mid 2026 or so, we will see, okay, we have a lot of riding schools in New York and a lot of foundation shows in New York. And we have a lot of support in New York from those barns. So we will most likely start a circuit in New York and maybe one in California. So we want to add 1 or 2 circuits every year, big circuits, to the schedule. So after 3-4 years, we really have a circuit everywhere in the United States. And that helps us a lot to keep it a little bit more structured other than running around from A to B, so.
Right.
But Florida, is going to be, Florida is going to be super interesting next year with the circuit being there.
Yeah. And those are all very big venues that you mentioned. I mean, that's great. Happy to hear it. So 2 final selfish questions for me as someone who's about to horse show there for the first time. Should I braid? Is the expectation to braid? Okay. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just making sure.
But here's the thing about braiding. It's like we have in the smaller classes, we have a score, a part of the score also in dressage that is called general appearance.
Okay.
And general appearance means how well are you, is your stuff clean? Is your horse braided? How well do you look? Not how expensive do you look, of course, but how well did you prepare to come to the horse show? Because that's one thing that drove me nuts with my full training kit, or still drives me nuts with my full training kit. They show up at the show and the bit's dirty. Like, for real, the bit is dirty. You didn't clean the bit. So what I used to do when I only had 2, 3, 4 full training kits, I put the horses back on the trailer and I went home. They didn't ride. They didn't show with a dirty bit.
Wow.
They didn't clean the bit at the show. You go to the show, you put a bridle into the trailer with a dirty bit. We're going home the next day. Don't worry about it. And I did that a lot. And until they learned it. And then now we have 15 full training kits or so I can't really do that anymore. And then I thought, okay, what we're going to do is we put a general appearance score into all the lower level stuff. And if they show up with a dirty bit and dirty boots and unbraided, well, they're just not going to win the class. Because this is exactly what we need to get back, the level of self-pride and expectation to show up at a horse show the way you're supposed to show up. And we also don't want anybody to pay $200 for hunter braids before you get a bunch of comments here in a minute saying, oh, but then I have to pay for a braider. No, you watch a YouTube video and you braid yourself. So we would rather see ugly braids that you did yourself than nice $200 braids you paid somebody to do. So that it's just part of being responsible. It's part of doing this correctly. So that's a long answer for the question, but that's the explanation why we would like to see braids.
Sure. Okay. Well, then my second one is, am I still allowed to be a dressage diva and bring like some fun colors to my show outfit? Or do you want it to be more traditional in terms of?
Well, that's a big question. We're not very strict with the attire.
Okay.
So I'm super traditional. If you ask me, so in the very first show we did, we only allowed white breeches.
I remember.
We didn't allow brown. We didn't. And then of course, people were right and they said, hey, but I have so many kids that want to come to a show and they don't have a bunch of money and they have brown or tan, whatever the color, whatever the name is, breeches. Do you really want them to buy white breeches now? And I'm like, no, of course not. So I changed it in the rule book and we made it a little bit more accessible. And then I had a bunch of like really interesting conversations with people that actually say we need to get rid of the founding father jackets and we need to make this a little cooler and a little more accessible, especially for the boys, for the 15-year-old boys.
Sure.
No 15-year-old boy wants to show a video at school of him riding around in the founding father jacket. You know what I mean? So we're kind of, and nobody knows that yet. And I'm talking too fast here already again.
Okay.
But we'll loosen things up quite a bit in 2026 when it comes to attire. And we're going to be very, very open-minded for fun attire or cool attire in 2026. And since we're doing that anyways, we're not too strict even right now.
Okay.
So yeah, just show up or, just.
So I can bring on my color coordinated outfits. That's all I need to know.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sounds great.
Of course. I'm a big color coordinator. We didn't even talk about that, but the reason I came to the US in 2019, or we came to the US in 2019, is because we have a tech company. It's called Magic Tech. It's a very big and very well-known company in Europe. We produce brow bands in all kinds of different colors, and they have a magnetic change mechanism. Yep. So you can take your red one out and put a green one in there.
Without having to undo all the buckles. Yeah, that's
exactly.
Great.
Without having to undo all of that. And I invented that in 2010, and that was my company. And that's the reason we came to America for. But then COVID hit. So we put that in the drawer. And because we were bored out of our minds, my wife and I, we said, okay, let's go ride some horses. And then one came to another. Within a month, we had about 20 full training horses. She had 10 to ride. I had 10 to ride at this barn around the corner. And then we bought our property and we took some of them to our property. Then we started the riding school, blah, 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 blah. So that was all during COVID while we couldn't do Magic Tech. And then all of a sudden, the whole riding school thing and all of that was getting so big that we never really had time to do Magic Tech again. So, matching outfits, matching brow bands. We had saddle pads and gloves, and you can change the patches of your gloves and all these things. So I'm very big into matchy stuff. Don't worry about matching stuff. I'm gonna appreciate you for doing that.
Okay. All right. We're gonna come looking our best. So
yeah.
All right. Well, good. David, hey, it's been great having you on. We really appreciate it. And again, stay tuned. I will be at the horse show. We'll see David again in just 10 days. So keep an eye on our social media, on our Instagram. We'll definitely do some live coverage while we're there. So thank you, David.
And Tuesday before the show is the 14th to the 16th, I believe. Is that true? So next weekend.
Yep.
And Tuesday for the show is when it's the last day of sign up without a late fee. So everybody who's interested, please come to the show, especially when we come to a state for the first time or to a venue the first time. We need some support to make sure we don't have 12 horses there. And it's going to be cool. I promise. You're going to like it. And please don't come to the show without a horse and say, oh, I'm going to check it out. No, bring the horse. It doesn't help if you come and check it out. Check it out with the horse.
Sounds great. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Well, Doug, since you're here, we're going to have to keep you for Rose and Thorn. Sorry, not sorry.
I'm here. I'm ready for it.
I feel like his thorn might be my thorn.
Oh no. Well, maybe you should go first. Do you want to go first?
I will go first and then we'll see if it's the same.
Okay.
So since we were just talking about the stallion inspection earlier, I had a little bit of like a Darwin Award type thing. So so we went up, we just had Europa with us. We call him Ozzy in the barn. And this is like kind of a two-parter, but like we go up and I'm like, okay, Jesse, and this is on a totally different note, but we did go to the Great Wolf Lodge. That's not my thorn. That is not my thorn.
Sorry.
It was
ish.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't even say
when
that
I was a kid, so
it wasn't my rose or my thorn. It was like my middle ground.
Like you survived. Yeah.
I survived. So anyways, it was fine. Anyways, long story short, I'm braiding Europa because you have to braid them multiple times because it's like an inspection twice a day. So at like 9 a.m., I'm talking to one of the other like breeders and we're just chatting and I kind of feel my step stool wobble a little bit. And I thought, oh, maybe it's the shavings. And then I went, oh no, I wonder if I didn't lock the like latches on it. And it's this, like it's a step stool, not like a full one. And I'm like, oh no.
It's a mini ladder, right? I mean, it's like a 2.5 foot ladder.
And it's giving out. And I'm like, oh no. And I'm like, one, this stallion is going to freak out. Turns out, thankfully not. But I go to like jump back as it's like collapsing down in front of him. And I roll my right ankle and I sprained it quite badly.
I was just thinking like, it hasn't been that long since you broke your leg, Jess.
I know. It was the other leg this time.
I'm going to tell you right now, she does not fall well. And at this point, I equate her falling skills as like throwing a feed bag out of a hayloft.
I mean, it's really that bad.
So her entire foot right now is purple.
Oh, goodness.
And it's been a week and it's still purple. And I hobble everywhere and everyone's like, have you gotten an x-ray? I'm like, well, it's not broken. I've been walking on it. And so thankfully we do have 2 orthopedics that, are in the barn, and they're like, that's 100% like the number one sprain. And the one father is like, now wonder you walk better. He's like, you're tall. Well, I was kind of surprised I could get my tall boot in it, but I got like one of the older ones in, and I'm like, oh, this is perfect. It's like it's stuck in there, and it feels great when I'm in the tall boot because it's like a brace. And he's like, yeah, the more you walk on it, as long as you're in the brace, i.e. your tall boot, you should be good to go. So yeah, that's 100% my thorn.
That is,
but my rose.
That feels just like horse girl medical advice, though. Just keep walking in it as long as it's in the tall boot.
Exactly. I mean,
the worst advice.
I was like, honestly, that doctor.
I mean, yeah, stick some Surpass on it, stick the laser on it, and keep going.
You'll be just fine.
And then we have normal people that are like, have you gotten an x-ray? Are you sure? I'm like, well, and then one of the vets was like, did you take an x-ray of it? I looked at her like she had 4 heads, and she goes, of course you did not. Of course you didn't take an x-ray of it.
In the end, though, it's not going to change anything. You're able to walk, you might as well get going.
And by the time we got home, we were day 3 or 4 into this. Like, we didn't have time in Maryland to go to a hospital.
Oh, gosh.
So, yes. Anyways, that's my rose. But I was sorry, my thorn. But my rose goes back to earlier. When we talked about Halloween needing to be 6 weeks, our Halloween was so cute. The kids had so much fun. And that is 100% my rose. We went to a neighborhood in town with their friends from school, and they shut down, they had multiple different trick-or-treatings. The 4:00 was for the little kids and still their age and stuff, but it was during the daylight, and the fire truck drove down the street, and the kids chased the fire truck as they went door to door to trick-or-treating. And then when it got darker, they went to another part of the neighborhood and did a secondary trick-or-treat. And the secondary trick-or-treat, they closed down the entire road for anything but golf carts. But cool. It was so cool. So that we drove the golf carts around and walked with the kids, and it was so cute. They had so much fun. So 100% that is my rose, that Halloween. They had an amazing Halloween, and so did we. And so even though it doesn't last 6 weeks, it lasted 3 days for us, and it was pretty awesome.
That's awesome. Where did they go as?
Well, they were each day was a different costume.
Except for Abigail. Abigail was a unicorn every day. Hudson utilized every day to be something different. So the first day he was Maverick from Top Gun.
Okay.
And it was a reused outfit. The second day he was
Yoshi. It was actually Maverick that was ready for a flood because it was last year's costume.
So,
and the legs were a little short, but it worked for him.
And then Yoshi, same thing. Last year's costume, legs were a little short, so he looked like his friend that was a Braves baseball player. So he had his socks hiked up. So Hudson's like, oh, I'll just hike up Yoshi and I'll look like that too. So he went as Yoshi from the last year. And then finally, the outfit we got for this year was Pikachu from Pokemon. He wore that for our bonfire the last night. But Abigail wore the exact same unicorn all 3 nights.
Yeah, she committed.
Oh my goodness.
She was committed
to that character.
Girl is committed, I'll tell you that.
Good for her.
It was great. Justine, what do you have?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, so I will say my thorn is that we were up in Tallahassee over the weekend. I married into a crazy college football family. My husband and his brother and his father all went to Florida State University. Alex's dad's name is engraved on his seats in the stadium. It's all in.
Oh, it is
very
all in.
Serious. Yeah. Very serious Florida State family. Well, the season started out great when we beat Alabama, and then it just really fell apart since then. But we still went. We still went to another game this weekend. But it's a beautiful time of year to be in Dallas. I'm not complaining. We had an opportunity to go to the Breeders' Cup, but I'm not complaining.
Was that your rose or thorn?
Well, this my thorn that on the way home, it's like a very familiar drive of like, we drive through all these like old Florida towns on like this alternate route so you don't have to take the highway. And I know better because there are speed traps on these little tiny towns where those cops have nothing better to do but to catch us leaving the football game driving home. You know, like it's well known. And I don't know, I was just like in a rush to get home or something, but yeah, the trooper got me. Oh, he got me good. So I got.
How far over were you?
He told me I was going 15 over.
Ooh.
And I just don't know that that's true. I mean, it could be, but I was like, come on, dude. And
no sympathy.
I'm having, like, I never thought I'd be here at like almost 40 years old and being like, my car insurance company called me last month to be like, we're not dropping you, but we're not renewing you. And like, why? And they're like, well, you had 2 accidents in the last 3 years. I'm like, I've been with the same car insurance company for like 15 years. And now they're telling me like, because I had 2 accidents in a 3-year period that I'm gone. So I just recently signed on, like literally within the last 45 days to a new car insurance. And now I got a speeding ticket. Like, I'm like, oh, I feel like my car insurance is going to go through the roof, you know, but what are you going to do?
You know what do you do with the car, with the accident situation? I bought Jessica the biggest brush guard you could possibly get for the front of the truck after the second time that she rear-ended somebody. I said, look, I'm not going to, again, replace this stock bumper. And if you hit something again, we're going to be fine. I mean, the other car, not so much, but this one will be completely fine. And it's been great ever since.
Okay, that's good to know because both of my accidents were rear-ending people. And the second time, I rear-ended somebody with the horse trailer attached. So,
excellent.
Everybody was fine. It was good.
Yeah, I got yelled at a lot for my incidents.
Yes. Well, Jess, you're making me feel better because after the first rear-ending accident, like the truck could not be driven, so I had to drop it off. And then I immediately, after I got it back, I immediately like ran into a concrete block in my parents' like condo building, parking the truck. So I still, like, I waited all this time and paid to have the car repaired only to just like immediately run back into the bumper. I'll send you guys a picture tomorrow. It's just this poor truck.
No, mine's seen way, way worse days. And you know what? Now it's fine. Now the bumper is like totally fine.
So I mean, is the answer.
It's a brush guard. So it's a permanent bumper though. It's not just a brush guard. Like it replaces the bumper.
Okay.
So you take the bumper off that you destroyed and you replace it with a massive bumper with a brush guard attachment. And it's like, it's so super duty. Yeah, you're fine.
All right. That's what I need.
But then you also...
It's one of these deals though, Jess, we go, oh, it's going to be close. And she continues going. So it's kind of like driving by Braille. But at this point, it just doesn't matter that much. And this is an investment, probably one of the better in my life because like the corners of it are all scraped to hell and it just doesn't matter. Like it's totally fine because the truck is in great shape still.
And honestly, because the brush guard's so like heavy duty, you honestly stay a little bit further back because you're like, ooh, you're going to crunch them if you're too close.
It gives you that buffer.
It does give the buffer because before I was like, oh, it's fine. And then now I'm like, ooh, you don't want to hit them with what's there now. So I like, honestly, I'm a little more careful driving because I'm like, oh yeah, you don't want to hit them with what's that.
Okay. That sounds like it needs to be added to the holiday gift guide.
Yeah, it should be a holiday gift guide. Yep.
So that's my thorn. My rose, I'm afraid to say it because the last time I told you guys this, it was a horse show and I didn't go. So now it's my rose is that I'm going to the UDJC horse show that they're the first one they're hosting in Florida is in Tampa next weekend. It's like 10 days away. Yeah. So after we interviewed David on this episode, I'm all excited and I signed up. So this is
excellent.
Yeah. A new horse show circuit that they're trying to be a competitor to USEF, be a little bit more horse welfare minded and less rules with USEF, and it's definitely cheaper. I can tell you that, but stay tuned. I will report back.
Yeah, you'll have to tell us how that goes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And what are you doing there?
Just dressage. Mine doesn't jump anymore, but they
but what level? What are you doing?
Well, so you have to qualify in order to do higher levels, but what's interesting is they have like a 2 different class format. So they have their own dressage test. So I have to do like what is essentially training level to qualify to do the next level, but they have something else called an ability test, and they have their own categories, which go from like the equivalent of training level. Then the next one's like a mix of first and second. Then the next one's like 3rd level. And then the highest is 4th level. So, and in those ability tests, it's almost like a flat class. So it's like 2 to 3 riders will compete in the class together, and the judge is in the ring with you and is assessing your ability to ride a certain level of movements that they will ask you to perform in the class. Yeah, and we all ride the same patterns, but one at a time, where the judge watches you. And you get feedback right there from the judge, like at the end of the class. They talk to you and give you feedback and why they scored you the way you did. So yeah, to me, it feels like a hunter under saddle class, but for dressage.
And instant feedback while you're going.
Exactly. And instant feedback right then and there. So
that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. Again, I'll take over our social media while I'm there, and actually HorseSpot will be there too. They're the entry platform for the horse show, and so we got lots of friends at the horse show, and we'll see how it goes. I hope they get a good turnout. It looks like the jumper divisions are pretty big, so I have a good feeling for them.
What level do they go to?
They'll go all the way up to Grand Prix.
Oh.
For show jumping, yeah. And then they do the hunters too. And the lowest division of the hunters starts at 2.6. They're like, they're not doing the short stirrup stuff. It's like,
yeah.
So yeah, David was great. I thought his conversation on this episode was awesome. So I'm filled with hope and inspired for the future of our sport. Hopefully more people will be interested in doing something different.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what about you, Ellie? What's your rose and thorn?
Well, so my rose is the success of my peacekeeper. So I posted in our Facebook group, because all of my stalls have bars between horses. I don't have any that are solid walls. And my 2 mares love each other, scream when the other mare's not in the barn, but they don't like to look at each other through the bars.
That's funny.
And my sister's mare, she's 26, I'm like, I really don't need you kicking stall walls and like hurting yourself. So I was trying to think of like better ways to like put something up. I was like, I don't want to put like plywood up, 1, because it's super expensive right now, and 2, because it's a pain in the butt. So I love this place. They don't sponsor me, but they should. Uprinting.com. They're super fast. And I had a big, like, heavy duty vinyl made. And because I'm, a little facetious, I did actually put Peacekeeper on it in big letters. And I put a picture of Flint on it because I thought it was cute. But I wove it through the bars. And now my mares don't care at all. They like look and see each other when they stick their heads out their windows. But no more kicking the stalls. Okay. So I'm happy about that. Matt, like, I'm also, my rose, I think, is mostly that Matt, didn't think it would work and he did not have faith in me. But I was like, both these horses have been in temporary stalls at horse shows. Like, they're not going to mess with this vinyl. Like, if it were Q, yeah, it wouldn't stay up there. But these mares, I know they're not going to mess with it. And yeah, it's perfect. And so I'm happy about that. That is definitely my rose. My thorn is a little more complicated. So I know I told you guys that Brave had to go get an MRI of her head because we thought she had MRSA and maybe had like an abscess tooth or, an abscess somewhere that needed to be addressed. And she went and got her MRI, and that is not the case. She actually has a macroadenoma on her pituitary gland. So it's, basically what's causing her Cushing's. But it's a type of tumor that is slow growing, but probably non-cancerous, but it will continue to grow. So she now needs radiation. So I'm trying to figure that out because the vet quoted me, like he was like, we don't do it here, but you'd have to check. You know, it usually costs between $8,000 and $14,000.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't have kids. I can't have kids. Brave is my kid. And so I'm trying to think of like different, like, you know, and I'm going to ask about like payment plans and things like that. Because she is insured, but it only has like a $5,000 cap, which is not much if it's on the high end of that scale. So, yeah, so that was not the news I was expecting. I was hoping it was an abscess tooth and we would just pull it and be fine. So, moral of the story is she never had MRSA. She instead, you know, was creating so much steroid that she didn't have any inflammation in her nose because she had her Cushing's. And then once we treated her Cushing's, then the inflammation came back. So, I mean, I'm glad to know this information because it's small enough where it's treatable right now. You know, and the vet has told me, like, with her being 8, like, if she were 14, he wouldn't bother. But it's something that could eventually, like, change her behavior, obviously cause a lot of, like, you know, pressure in her head from squishing her brain. And then also, like, seizures and things. So it's kind of like, you know, if I don't do it, then, you know, that's that. So, yeah. So that wasn't the news I was hoping for, but I'm trying to think about it as a positive because it's something I would have never known about had she not been showing me, like, you know, upper respiratory symptoms. So, yeah, so I'm glad we did it. And now I'm going to figure out how to pay for it.
Oh, God.
But, yeah, so that was kind of a cluster. But it's, you know, she's healthy now. And, you know, at least it's not like an emergent situation, you know. It's something where I have time to plan. I have time to think about it. And sometimes we're not that lucky, you know, so I'm trying to think about it from that perspective. So yeah. So my poor problem child, I'm really sick of people telling me how rare and how complicated my case is with my MS, my dog's case is with her health. So I'm like, you know, maybe we should just all be, you know, a little more normal.
I know. I feel like you need a break. Jeez, you know? Ugh.
Yeah, a break would be nice. All right, Doug.
I'm ready for it.
Let's hear it.
I guess we start with a thorn, and I've got to say, Jessica's Darwin Award-winning performance has definitely put a damper on things because at home now, typically she would ride a whole bunch of horses, and now I've been on the entire list, which obviously makes for longer days. So hopefully
I can do a couple of them. It just depends on who I can get off of. That's like the key thing. It's not who I can ride. It's how I get off. So he's like, can you ride so-and-so? I'm like, definitely can't get off that one. He like asked the other day if I could ride Count. And I was like, no, like that's the definite one I cannot ride because when I get off, I have to like lean on the neck and like slowly get off. And like half of them hate when you do that. But like good on Quincy. He loves it. He's fine with it.
He's like, sure, whatever.
Do what you does. You can jump on his neck and he just lowers me to the ground. It's pretty nice.
And then if you go with the Rose, I think, you know, Ozzy, that Europa stallion he was just excellent last weekend, and having that approval was wonderful, and it's probably the best young horse I've ever had. So, you know, his future is super exciting and can't really wait to see what transpires.
Very cool. Awesome. All right. Well, we're going to keep you for one more minute, Doug, because
he's the one that's going to be the expert on this mailbag, so he has to stay along.
So we'll let you answer it. So this is from Ariana in our Facebook group, who asked, what is the best watch for riding? It doesn't need to be something for like optimum time, like eventing, but just something that's easy to read from the saddle and is fairly durable. So is there, you know, from the Apple Watch to a Garmin, is there something that like you think fits the bill?
Yeah, on a normal day, I mean, I'd use an Apple Watch, but I will say my entire time eventing, probably a bit of an outlier and didn't make it terribly public, but I think the best thing I ever found was a Garmin Forerunner. And the awesome thing with that is that you can set what they call a virtual partner. So when you're doing any sort of conditioning work or in competition, you can basically program in an optimal speed. So say you're going training level, you can set, okay, it's going to be, 400 meters per minute. You can basically enter that into the watch. And the coolest part about that is I never, for the last 15 years, ever did a meter wheel and find minute markers and all that, because basically you can enter the speed. And again, you could use it for training or in competitive situation. And then at any time you can glance at the watch. And if the background is black, you're behind, white, you're ahead. And it'll tell you how many meters and seconds you are ahead or behind of the optimum time at that point. And so what I would do in a critical competition, so I'm at something big, I might ask somebody for the last minute or 2 minute markers. So the only caveat to it, if it went wrong and you had to take a long option, maybe your time's slightly off. But if you went all the direct routes, it would be absolutely dead on. And it was amazing because you could ride a whole bunch of horses and I would just adjust the speed for each level at which we're going. And then you'd right away have it. And I think it's also pretty interesting. You could integrate that with a heart monitor and you can actually overlay the data if you want to get real nerdy about it. You can overlay the data onto video, which is pretty cool, actually. And you could find out kind of where your personal situation was, throughout the course. And yeah, it's a whole lot of fun, but it's super interesting to work with. Oh, absolutely. They could. And
Garmin's getting into the horse space too now. Don't they have like the tail readers?
Yeah, they are. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I think it's super exciting because it's a super innovative company and, everything they produce is top notch and
most of your flying stuff is
all the flying stuff. I mean, everything we use in the plane is Garmin. Oh. And so,
it's trusted.
It is definitely the trusted company for sure when it comes to anything like that.
That's good to know. Okay. I mean, that's better advice than what I would give you, Ariana. Like mine.
Well, exactly. I'd be like,
I use an Apple Watch for years, but it's never reliable. And I've shattered 1 million of them at the barn, so I do like my Apple Watch and I haven't shattered one, but for like a equestrian watch, it's not so much. I mean, honestly, I use my Apple Watch so that I can get my phone calls so that my phone can be on vibrate. And if I lose my phone, I can find it. That's about me too.
That's the extent of what I need.
So I can ride, and if like work needs me, I'm like, it pings me right away. You know what I mean?
It pings you, and then you know somebody's calling. And honestly, like if it's in your pocket, you can like look at your watch and see who's calling, so you don't have to stop your ride. But I mean, that's the extent of my riding using my watch type thing. And I think she's looking for more something that thankfully Doug could give us all the info.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely better than what I was going to say too.
Right. I need to phone a friend on this one.
The only caveat with it is when you set it up, set the watch up, you put everything in metric and you just have to do, and I'm happy to give you guys, but you just do a conversion table from kilometers an hour to meters per minute. And
see, this is where it got too technical for us.
Yeah. I can supply you guys with that. So that then I basically just had
they got lost.
I just had a table from beginner, novice to advanced of each meter per minute speed and what corresponding kilometers an hour it was. And then that's the only thing that's the only hurdle you really had. But if you've got that locked in, then it is super informative throughout the course, because then you could be galloping, it might be a meter, a minute marker that's like in the middle of a water jump. And that's like not terribly useful because you're cantering away and you look at your watch and you're like, well, was that 10 seconds later or 5 sequends later, 15 seconds later?
For me, I was like, I got through the water jump. Doesn't really matter.
Right? I feel like that's where I would be.
Did you really need that minute marker? And then I was like, was it 2 or 3? It doesn't really matter. Still through that water jump.
Yeah, exactly.
So the great thing is that you could be galloping along any point where you have a lull in the intensity. You could glance at it and you could say, oh, I've got to go a little faster. I'm totally good. Or maybe at a lower level with a big strided horse, maybe I should dial it back and slow down a touch. Never something that Jessica had to come.
No, I'm all about my time faults.
She gets her money's worth on course. She's out there to enjoy the process.
I forget my watch, and he's like, "You should just go faster every time. Go faster." Doesn't matter if you think you're going fast, you're definitely not going fast.
Jess is just out for a stroll.
I am. I'm out for enjoying my money's worth.
Oh, that's funny. Well, hey, Doug, thanks so much for sticking on with us. It was fun to have you.
Oh, awesome. I can't wait for the next time.
And if you have a question for us and you want us to answer it on the air, you can always send us an email. Our email address is justine@heelsdownmedia.com, or definitely join our Facebook group. It's the Heels Down Happy Hour Podcast Lounge. We have lots of fun conversations there. Doug chimes in to make fun of my fanny pack there. You don't want to be
such a horrible fashion choice.
It's not going anywhere. My satchel, I think, is what you called it last time. So join us.
I will
Facebook.
say, I give you a whole lot of credit that you're not wearing the apron.
I don't do the dressage brighter girl apron. Nope, don't do that. But if you want to hear more from us, check us out at heelsdownmag.com. And again, that's where our gift guide will be posted. And follow us online. We're at Heels Down Happy Hour on Instagram and at Heels Down Mag on Facebook and TikTok. And if you love our show, please leave us a rate and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. All right, guys, that's a wrap. Cheers.
Cheers.